Chapter 438. Ambush. Based on the clothes they were wearing, these two were about the same as the ones Yi Xian had killed outside the Flying Scorpion Pavilion, at most 520 dragon power. Although Yi Xian had used up his last Beast King rampage outside the Flying Scorpion Pavilion, he had gained quite a lot of dragon power afterwards. In addition to the killings he had done along the way, he could still use it one more time. At this time he was hesitating whether to kill these people outside, then charge into the poison array and kill the 100 Poison Sect branch leader as well. Forget it, I'll go all out. I have all kinds of bloodlines. As long as I kill the branch leader, I might be able to trap them inside then. As Yi Xian thought in his heart, he quietly descended and approached the group of guards outside. Beast King Rampage. Yi Xian suddenly increased his strength and directly charged in. In the blink of an eye, several heads flew, all of them belonging to the 100 Poison Sect branch leader. What? The 5 Poison Sect elders were shocked. By the time they reacted, half of the team had already been slaughtered. Yi Xian's speed exceeded 600 dragon power. Shuttling through the crowd, with a single slash of his sword he could kill several people. Young Master Shi, TSK. Elder Wu, you should report to hell as well. Yi Xian was a vengeful person. Now, he had already taken 2/3 of his revenge. Only Steward Qiu was left. In less than 3 seconds, other than the 5 Poison Sect's 5th stage Imperial Qi elders, everyone else was killed by Yi Xian. This time, not only did he obtain a large number of yin and yang rings, but his martial arts had also improved. His silver feather movement technique had finally reached 100% mastery. Haha, the heavens are helping me. You too can go to hell as well. Yi Xian's morale was high. His speed suddenly increased and in 2 moves, he cut off the heads of the 2 elders. The improvement of his martial arts had come at just the right time. Ding, the host has broken through to 400 dragon power. The items from these dozens of people allowed Yi Xian to break through to the 4th level of the Imperial Qi branch leader. Yi Xian did not feel complacent because of this, because he still had to complete an important mission, which was to kill the branch leader of the 100 Poison Sect. Thus he charged into the poison array. As expected, the poison mist had no effect on him, so he could pass through it without obstruction. This poison array can only be dispelled by the sect master. I wonder where they went. Yi Xian began to move around the poison array. Although he couldn't see, he could sense everything within 1,000 meters. Moreover, even if it was the branch sect leader of the 100 Poison Sect, it wouldn't be that easy to break through this formation. Therefore, Yi Xian reckoned that their speed wouldn't be fast. Sure enough, 10 seconds after Yi Xian entered the poison array, he found that group of people. 6 poisons, 5 Poison Sect. A poison ons a 5 Poison Sect. 10 of them were naturally the elders of the 5 Poison Sect. As for the last one, he was definitely the branch head of the 100 Poison Sect. Found you. I'll kill you in one blow. Yi Xian's eyes shot out 2 rays of murderous intent as he quietly approached them. At this moment, some people in the team also felt that something was wrong. There's movement. It's very fast. Gu Qi, who was walking in 2nd place, frowned and said in a neutral voice, "Don't worry, Guardian Gu. It should be a sacred beast that accidentally entered the poison array. If it dares to come, we'll kill it," Tang Huaiji explained. "No, it's the sound of human footsteps." Gu Qi shook his head. Although his cultivation level was the same as Tang Huaiji's, his strength was stronger than Tang Huaiji's. He heard it clearly. It was the sound of 2 feet on the ground. However, just as he finished speaking, a figure suddenly rushed out of the poison mist. This figure was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it swept past them. Everyone was startled as they discovered that there was something out of the ordinary moving towards them. "It's poison powder. Be careful." Tang Huaiji cried out in alarm. This pile of poison powder was not small. This was the most powerful poison powder that Yi Xian could currently refine. It was enough to kill a level 5 Imperial Qi expert. He ran too fast this time, so the poison powder didn't kill a single person. It only corroded a few pieces of flesh from their hands. However, he had achieved his goal. When Tang Huaiji and the others dispersed the poison powder, they found that the sect leader of the 100 Poison Sect, who was walking in front of the team, had disappeared. Yes, he had disappeared. On the ground there was a pool of blood. Everyone present smelled the scent of blood. Damn it, he was killed. Tang Huaiji cursed. The first poison array was set up by the 100 Poison sect. They finally found someone to break it, but he was killed. What were they going to do next? He's already dead. Since that's the case, let's break the array by force, Guqi said. Just now he did not react in time. That was why Yixian ran away. Okay, we'll break the array by force. Everyone be careful. That person may appear again. Tang Huaiji gritted his teeth and shouted. They continued to move forward very carefully. At this time, Yixian was hiding in a poisonous flower garden. There's a poisonous beehive in front of them. I'll make a move when they are attacked by the poisonous beehive. This plantation originally had nothing, but after the 2 poison arrays were set up, many poisonous creatures moved in. Although these poisonous creatures were not strong, their toxicity was so strong that even the experts of the 5 Poison sect had to be cautious. Yixian quietly followed behind this group of people. He was calculating the distance between this group of people and the poisonous beehive in his mind. At the same time, he was calculating the duration of the Beast King's rage. He only had one chance to make a move. If he did not replenish the sacred beast corpses, he would not be able to resist anymore. There was only one chance. He had to grasp it. The 5 Poison sect team continued to move forward. They were only 300 meters away from the poisonous beehive. 200 meters. 100 meters. This time, whoosh! A slash broke through the poisonous fog and instantly cut the poisonous beehive that was bigger than a clothes rack in half. In an instant, countless thumb-sized poisonous bees swept out. Each of them had the ability to poison 300 dragon power martial artists to death. Not good. Everyone be careful. Tang Huaiji shouted. This poisonous bee swarm covered the sky and the earth as it swept towards this team. There were more than 1,000 of them. This time, Tang Huaiji and the others were in trouble. However, these people were at least level 5 Imperial Qi. Even if there were 1,000 poisonous bees, they would not be able to do much to them. Therefore, Yixian made a move. He, who was not afraid of the poisonous grass, rushed towards Tang Huaiji and the others. Be careful. Tang Huaiji heard the hurried footsteps and reminded them again. However, it was already too late. A series of screams sounded. The elders behind Tang Huaiji let out miserable cries. Some of them had already fallen to the ground. Underworld sword technique, underworld burial. A wave of chaotic and disorderly qi swept out, instantly killing a 5th-level Imperial Qi Realm Elder who was resisting the poisonous wasps. Chapter 439. A strange poison array. It's that brat. Go kill him. Guqi immediately ordered. At that moment, his white bone battle puppet quickly flew out, stepping on the poisonous flowers and grass as it charged towards Yixian. Yixian could not beat him now, so he quickly fled. He then circled around the corpses and took all their interspatial rings. These elders had massacred the 100 Poison sect, so they must have many good things on them. Ding, the host has broken through to 410 dragon power. Ding, the host has broken through to 420 dragon power. Ding, the host has broken through to 430 dragon power. The 4 corpses allowed Yixian to gain 30 dragon power. At this time, most of the poison bees were killed, and Yixian's Beast King rampage was about to end, so he quickly fled. The skeletal war puppet could not find him, so it turned back. Damn it! When Tang Huaiji killed the last wave of poison bees, he was so angry that he gritted his teeth, and his hair stood on end. He recognized Yixian. Last time he could have wiped out the 100 Poison sect in one fell swoop, but Yixian suddenly appeared, causing Yixian and Feng Yaqing to escape. This time Yixian disturbed him again, and even killed 4 elders of the 5 Poison sect. Now, other than the 3 of them who were at level 6 of the Imperial Qi realm, there were only 6 elders who were at level 5 of the Imperial Qi realm. Sect leader, what do we do now? An elder asked after removing the poison from his body. Continue to break the array. Tang Huaiji gritted his teeth. The last time we were here, there was only some white bone grass planted on the ground, so we set up a poison array and scattered some seeds. But we did not expect it to become so dangerous in such a short time. I feel. What do you feel? Tang Huaiji asked coldly. The changes here are beyond our expectations. There may be a powerful poisonous creature here, the elder said. In fact, Tang Huaiji had also felt it. This was only the first layer of the poison array, and there were already over 1,000 poisonous wasps. If they reached the poison array set up by the 5 poison sect, it would most likely be even more dangerous. Not to mention the plantation that was surrounded by 2 layers of poison arrays. Don't worry, as long as we find those white bone grass, I will be able to find my senior's bones. At that time I will not mistreat you, Gu Qi said in a sarcastic tone. The white bone grass was the symbol of the fall of the experts of the Baigu group. Previously, the people of the 5 poison sect had coincidentally seen the white bone grass and reported the matter to Tang Huaiji. Wherever there was white bone grass, one had to be careful. All the sects in the Corpse Master sect's territory practiced similar cultivation methods, which would change their physiques. After they died, their corpses might mutate. If they recklessly dug up the white bone grass, they would be in big trouble. But this elder still wanted to say something. Tang Huaiji directly interrupted him. No buts. As long as we help Gu Qi find the corpses, we will go our separate ways. The remains of a level 8 Imperial Qi expert is enough for each of us to establish a faction comparable to the 5 poison sect. Now that 4 people have died, we will split even more. In fact, he and Gu Qi had a private agreement. As long as they found the corpses, then he would join forces with Gu Qi to eradicate these 5 poison sect elders. After all, there were too many people. And he was not afraid of Gu Qi betraying him because Gu Qi was his brother. It was just that these elders did not know. The remaining 6 elders looked at each other and all nodded. They were still convinced. The remains of a level 8 Imperial Qi expert, even if it was divided among 10 people, it was still enough. This group continued forward. The 4 people who died just now were not of high realms, while the remaining 6 people had all reached 550 dragons. The strongest was 580 dragons. If the 6 of them joined forces, they could even fight a level 6 Imperial Qi expert. Yi Xian did not hear their words. He was too far away. They continue forward again. Let's wait until they find the corpses first. Yi Xian, who was hiding not far away, thought so in his heart. Just now he had obtained 4 corpses. He had made a huge profit, and even replenished the corpses of sacred beasts. Because these 5 poison sect elders had previously killed the 100 poison sect elders, and then charged into the 100 poison sect to loot, it would be strange if their pockets were not full. Yi Xian estimated that if he killed the remaining 6 people, he could at least break through to 450 dragons. Next, he followed behind these people, advancing bit by bit. Tang Huaiji in the front group said in a low voice, "That kid is still following us. How did he avoid these dangers?" "Don't worry about it. Just now, when my white bone battle hoe was chasing him, its foot stepped on the poison powder. If another accident happens, it will be troublesome," Gu Qi replied in a low voice. Fortunately, the 100 poison sect branch leader had just explained the method to break the formation, so they were not blindly breaking the formation. After about 5 minutes, they came out of the 100 poison sect's poison formation. Next, it was the 5 poison sect's own poison formation. This is my 5 poison sect's 100 poison devouring great formation. Other than the 100 types of poisonous grasses, we also sprinkled a large amount of bloodthirsty flying scorpions and other poisonous creatures' larvae. After so long, they should be able to threaten us. Everyone follow me closely. Be careful. Tang Huaiji still walked in the front, and then entered this 10,000 poison devouring great formation. There was only one way to break this formation, and he remembered it very clearly. As long as there were no accidents, they could easily break this formation. At this time, Yi Xian also walked out of the 100 poison sect's poison formation. He could not help but sigh. People who use poison were truly terrifying. Fortunately, he had the sacred tree of life's bloodline, otherwise, he would have died 100 times already. Previously, Old Monster Hong went to a lower-level territory to plant, so there was no need to go through so much trouble. And this plantation was in the Ghost Tomb territory. The 100 poison sect and 5 poison sect were afraid that the poisonous grasses they painstakingly planted would be taken advantage of by others, so they developed 2 poison formations. In these few months, Yi Xian had learned quite a bit about poisonous grasses. Whenever he saw something he did not recognize on the road, he would quietly pluck a leaf and then increase his resistance to poison. This poison formation was large and complicated. Some of the poisonous grasses grew even taller than Yixian. At the same time, there were often things flying through the air. Yixian followed very carefully, maintaining a distance of 1,000 meters from the front. This time, the 5 poison sects team was very fast. They walked out in less than 3 minutes. We're finally out. Tang Huaiji frowned slightly, because the plantation in front of him had already grown into a forest. There really is something here. Just based on the seeds I scattered, it's impossible for them to grow like this. There must be a powerful poisonous creature entrenched here. I wonder what realm it is. It's at least Royal Qi level 5, maybe Royal Qi level 6. The 6 elders were a little worried. Stop talking. Hurry up and find the white bone grass, then leave. Elder Chan, you lead the way. Tang Huaiji said. Yes, let me tell you a joke. I'm the author of this super devouring system. Can you give me a drumstick? Get lost. If you don't have money, then you don't have money. What author, idiot? I can use a manuscript in exchange. Chapter 440. Poison Dragon. Yes. A 5 poison sect elder walked to the front. Previously, he was the one who personally laid down the poison formation. He was also the one who personally saw the white bone grass. Following his memories, they should be able to find the white bone grass. The group went straight into the forest. Not long after, Yixian also came out of the second poison array. The poisonous fog in this type of plantation was thinner, so he had to be more careful. The 2 groups of people walked in the poisonous forest. During this time, Tang Huaiji and the others also saw many new poisonous creatures and plants. This made them even more convinced that there was definitely a powerful creature here. However, their goal was the white bone grass. As long as they found the white bone grass, they would immediately leave. As long as they obtained the remains of a royal heir level 8 powerhouse, who would care about this plantation? The leader, Elder Chan, searched for 5 minutes before he finally found the white bone grass. The leaves of the white bone grass were the same shape as human bones. They were white and there were 8 of them in total. When Gu Qi saw the white bone grass, his eyes lit up. 8 stalks of white bone grass growing from the same root. As expected, this is the place where the senior from the Baigu group died. Gu Qi murmured. At this time, Tang Huaiji suddenly pointed ahead and said, Look over there, there's a cave. The poison here was very thin, and they could barely see things a few hundred meters away. Everyone followed Tang Huaiji's finger and found a large cave. This was a canyon, so it wasn't strange for caves to appear. However, everyone discovered that there was a huge claw mark at the edge of the cave. Sure enough, there's a big guy. Everyone, keep your voices down. Don't make too much noise. Tang Huaiji whispered. Understood. The others nodded in agreement. They still didn't know what this big guy was, nor did they know how strong its realm was. If it was only at the 5th level of the Royal Qi, it would be fine, but if it was at the 6th level of the Royal Qi, then it would be troublesome. For those of us who cultivate death-type techniques, it's extremely easy for our corpses to mutate after we die. There should be a strong deathly aura under those 8 stalks of white bone grass. I need to absorb this deathly aura before I can dig out the corpses, Gu Qi said as he took out 3 hollow bones that were 4 to 5 meters long. Then, he personally carried the 3 bones to the white bone grass and stabbed them into the ground in a triangular formation. The bones were only half a person's height above the ground. Then, he began to form hand seals and set up a spirit formation. This was a method of slowly releasing the death qi underground. If the death qi underground was not released, there would definitely be a death qi explosion. It didn't matter if the explosion killed him, but it would be a tragedy if the universe ring and his corpse were destroyed. When Gu Qi finished setting up the formation, the 3 long bones began to emit white smoke. If the corpse of a Royal Qi level 8 expert were to explode with death energy, how powerful would it be? An elder could not help but ask. The death energy explosion of a royal heir level 8, if we were nearby, we would definitely be blown up into nothingness. This plantation, along with the 2 poison arrays outside, would also be completely destroyed. Bone 7 replied. Everyone couldn't help but shudder. How could this explosion of death qi be so powerful? However, when they thought about how long this expert had been dead, they calmed down. This expert from the Baigu group had been dead for many years. Only a corpse that had been dead for so long could accumulate so much death qi. The death qi spiraled up. After about 2 minutes, Gu Qi put away the 3 long bones. "Don't move. I'll dig." Gu Qi ordered the white bone puppet to dig with him. To him, the corpse of a royal qi level 8 expert was much more important than the universe ring. As long as he could obtain this corpse, he could refine another white bone puppet. Its strength might be reduced, but it would still be much stronger than him. Gu Qi dug very carefully, but it didn't take long for him to dig out a bunch of bones. Finger bones, hand bones, sternum and ribs were dug out one by one. Gu Qi calculated silently in his heart. However, after digging for a long time, he still couldn't find an interspatial ring, which made him very surprised. "That's strange. Even the hand bones are out. Where is the universe ring?" Tang Huaiji asked in surprise. "Could it be that the universe ring has been taken away long ago?" An elder murmured. "If that was the case, it was too much of a scam. They risked their lives to come here. Were they going to return empty-handed?" Gu Qi didn't believe it either. Although he thought the corpse was more important, if he could get the universe ring, he wouldn't lack cultivation resources at royal qi level 7 or even level 8. He didn't believe it and dug for a while, but still couldn't find the universe ring. At this time, even the skull of the corpse had been dug out. "Damn it! It has been taken away long ago." Gu Qi couldn't help cursing. Tang Huaiji and the remaining 6 elders were helpless. They also rushed forward and began to dig crazily. With so many people working together, it was inevitable that they would make some noise. At this time, at a place 1,000 meters away from them. Is that the place where the royal qi level 8 expert died? Haven't the corpse been dug out? Is there no universe ring? With his strong perception, Yixian could sense the movements of these people. Previously, he was still thinking that if he found the interspatial ring, these people might have internal strife and then fight each other. At that time, he would be able to take advantage of the chaos. But now, without the cosmos ring, his fantasy was ruined. However, at this time, boom! Suddenly, a loud noise fell into everyone's ears. Tang Huaiji and the others looked up at the cave in the distance and found a huge black shadow slowly walking out. "Oh no, stop!" Tang Huaiji hurriedly said. Everyone stopped what they were doing and turned to look. Although they were digging together, the sound couldn't be heard so far away. This big guy must have come out by itself. Although the poisonous substance here was thin, they could only see a huge figure. Roar! This big guy stood at the entrance of the cave and roared. Then it spread its wings and flew up. It was a flying dragon. "Oh no, it's flying toward us!" Tang Huaiji shouted in a low voice. Only then did they see the appearance of this flying dragon. This was not an ordinary flying dragon, but a poisonous dragon. This poisonous dragon had a layer of black scales on its skin, which was constantly emitting clouds of poisonous gas. Its wash-basin-sized eyes stared and fell on Tang Huaiji and the others. Although warriors could hide their breath, some creatures' perception was not weak. Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi were both royal qi level 6. The moment the poisonous dragon came out of the cave, they were discovered. It's just a poisonous dragon of royal qi level 6. Kill. Chapter 441. Translator. Nyobo Studio Editor. Nyobo Studio. The final battle. Though it was Tang Huaiji's first time seeing a flying dragon, he reckoned that the poison dragon was not much stronger than it. Hence, he attacked without hesitation. It was the same for Gu Qi and the white bone battle puppet. As long as they killed the poison dragon, they could dig up the entire area. Who knew, the interspatial ring might have fallen somewhere else. However, when their attacks landed on the poison dragon's body, they were completely ineffective. How is this possible? Our vital energy was weakened by more than half by the poisonous gas. My attacks can't even break through its scales? An elder exclaimed. He was in the realm of 560 dragons. If he used his martial arts, he could kill a level 6 sacred beast of the Imperial Qi realm. He was not the only one. The other 5 elders were the same. Furthermore, even Tang Huaiji, who was in the realm of 620 dragons, could not break through the poison dragon's scales. The poison dragon flew above the 6 of them. Then it opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of green venom. An elder's shoulder was accidentally touched by a few drops of venom. His entire shoulder was melted. If he had been hit by the entire pool of venom, his entire body would have melted into a pool of blood. What a strong venom! Be careful. Tang Huaiji reminded them again. The flying dragon flew in the sky and kept spitting venom. Hence, Gu Qi's white-bone battle puppet was completely useless. Furthermore, the group of people below could only use long-range attacks. However, none of them could break through the poison dragon's scales, including Gu Qi. Damn it! Gu Qi cursed angrily. He took out a bone sword from his interspatial ring and attacked again. Gotcha! A crisp sound rang in everyone's ears. The poison dragon finally broke through the poison dragon's scales. However, this was merely breaking through the poison dragon's scales. The poison dragon was also a little surprised. However, it only glanced at Gu Qi with its noble head before continuing to attack the elders. It also understood that it had to pick the weakest persimmon. Its venom was very large. The elders had a hard time dodging it. After all, they had to be careful not to step on any corrosive poisonous grass or flowers. This battle seemed to be evenly matched. However, as time went on, the poison dragon was gaining the upper hand. That was because the venom it spat out had already melted the poisonous flowers and plants and seeped into the soil. An elder accidentally stepped on it, and his entire foot melted. Then he fell on top of it and died miserably. Only then did Tang Huaiji realize that they were no match for this poison dragon. They had to retreat. Let's go! Tang Huaiji shouted. At that moment he and Gu Qi turned around and left. The remaining 5 elders did the same. Seeing this, the poison dragon roared at the sky and chased after him. If this was only a wyvern, the 6 of them would have been able to kill it. Unfortunately, this was a poison dragon, which was much stronger than ordinary wyverns. Moreover, this poison dragon's realm was higher than all of them, so the 5 elders couldn't escape and were dissolved by the poison. Only Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji managed to leave. The poison dragon was too lazy to chase after them and returned to the plantation. At this time there was only one human left in this plantation. That was Yi Xian, who had been hiding and holding his breath. When the poison dragon was chasing after Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi, he happened to take away the 6 elders' interspatial rings. The interspatial rings were made of the same material as mid-level heaven artifacts, so the poison dragon could still melt them. At the same time, Yi Xian tested the poison himself. Sure enough, his hand was melted once. However, the second time, his skin had developed a resistance to the poison. The poison no longer had any effect on him. The 6 interspatial rings allowed Yi Xian's realm to break through from 430 dragons to 460 dragons. If he used Beast King Rampage now, he could soar to 600 dragons of power. At this time he already had the strength to fight with Gu Qi, and the other 2 rank 6 Imperial Qi cultivators. While the poison dragon was returning to its nest, Yi Xian also left this plantation. This time he had gained a lot. At this time he left the plantation to find if Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji were still there. Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji, who had been chased away by the poison dragon, also hid far away. Fortunately, the poison dragon did not chase after them, otherwise, they would have run separately. Big brother, did you really not find the interspatial ring? Now that only Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi were left, Tang Huaiji directly called the latter big brother. I really didn't. However, the corpses of the seniors of the Baigu group are all here. Just give me some time and I will refine them into a white-bone battle puppet. Then we can kill that poison dragon. Gu Qi glanced at the white-bone battle puppet beside him. This white-bone battle puppet had been with him for more than 10 years. It had only recently been refined to rank 6 Imperial Qi, and had spent a lot of treasures to improve the strength of its bones. Now it was time to change. There are still 6 interspatial rings. Tang Huaiji reminded. It did not matter that the 6 elders were dead, but the people they had killed before had been distributed. The 6 interspatial rings added up to a lot of things, and he was a little reluctant to part with them. Don't worry. Wait until I refine this new white-bone battle puppet, then we will kill our way in, Gu Qi said with a grin. But that kid might still be alive. Tang Huaiji thought of Yi Xian, the unknown factor who could kill the 100 Poison Sect's sub-leader right in front of him. That kid must have spread the news that I am here. Since the poison dragon has retreated, let's wait outside. Gu Qi was also very resentful of Yi Xian, so he immediately went back the way he came. Although they did not know why Yi Xian was able to do whatever he wanted in there, it was meaningless. Their goal was the interspatial rings. Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji arrived outside the poison array again. Gu Qi looked at the corpses on the ground and could not help but say, "This kid is really ruthless. He even killed his own fellow disciples." The fellow disciples he was referring to were the 100 Poison sect's sub-disciples and elders who had defected to the 5 Poison sect. Of course, from the beginning, Tang Huaiji and his brother did not want to share the loot with others. They wanted to keep it all to themselves. Tang Huaiji hesitated for a long time because he had built the 5 Poison sect with great difficulty. However, just as they walked to the entrance of the poison array, they suddenly heard a commotion coming from inside the poison array. Footsteps, it's that kid. The two of them immediately reacted. A total of 13 people entered the poison array, including the white bone battle puppet. If they excluded Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji, there were only 11 people left. Among these 11 people, the 100 Poison sect's sub-leader was the first to die, followed by the 4 elders, and finally the 6 elders who were sprayed to death by the poison dragon. Although the 100 Poison sect's sub-leader did not die in front of them, they guessed that he was dead too. Chapter 442. 1 against 3. Sure enough, it was as they had expected. When they saw the figure slowly walking out of the poison array, they couldn't help but be moved. This brat was truly capable of shuttling between the 2 poison arrays. "Good boy, you actually dare to come out from here?" Tang Huaiji said with some surprise. "Haha." Yi Xian grinned. He was also a little surprised. He didn't think that these 2 people would choose to return here to guard him instead of continuing to flee. "Those Qin Kuan rings are all on you?" Tang Huaiji didn't give Yi Xian a chance to speak and asked directly. "Not a single one." Yi Xian nodded and asked in return, "Did you kill the sect leader of the 100 Poison sect, Fengshan?" "No, I sent people to escort him back to the 5 Poison sect." "Why, you still want to save him?" Tang Huaiji narrowed his eyes. "You don't need to worry about that. I'm just curious, did you get that senior's Qin Kuan ring?" Yi Xian asked again. Tang Huaiji revealed a cold smile. "Did you think I would tell you? Then you didn't. Otherwise, you would have already fought." Yi Xian guessed. Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi looked at each other. It seemed that Yi Xian wasn't stupid. He was much smarter than the 5 Poison sect elders. At this time, Gu Qi suddenly said, "Kid, you're quite talented. Are you interested in joining our Baigu group?" "Haha, you want my martial art that can suddenly increase the strength of 100 dragons, right?" Yi Xian smiled. "That's right. Since you've already learned it, isn't it natural to hand it over to Master? As long as you're willing to hand it over, I'll give Little White to you after I've successfully refined that white bone battle puppet," Gu Qi said as he glanced at the level 6 white bone battle puppet beside him. Martial arts could be taught, but Beast King's rampage wasn't a martial art. Yi Xian couldn't teach it even if he wanted to. Moreover, these 2 were ruthless and had actually massacred the 100 Poison sect. Even if Yi Xian didn't avenge Feng Yaqing, he still had to consider his own strength. "I'm very interested in the method of controlling white bones," Yi Xian said. "So you agree?" Gu Qi's eyes brightened. Greed and murderous intent flashed across his eyes. Let him accept Yi Xian as his disciple? What a joke. He wanted to get Beast King berserk first before killing Yi Xian. The reason why the 2 of them hadn't made a move yet was because they didn't know if Yi Xian had the Beast King Rampage secret manual in his yin and yang ring. Therefore, Yi Xian could not be killed yet. However, Yi Xian was not that stupid. "No, I guess you want to kill me after obtaining this martial art, right?" Yi Xian said as he took out the Bahuang sword. He had said enough nonsense and it was time to start fighting. "Humph. A guy who doesn't know what's good for him. Then I'll capture you first and interrogate you." Gu Qi snorted coldly and took out the bone sword. Tang Huaiji did the same. That day, Yi Xian was able to escape from under their noses. They didn't dare to be careless when he passed through the poison array at will. The battle prowess of the 3 great Imperial Qi Tier 6 surrounded Yi Xian in the middle. Yi Xian held the Bahuang sword and watched coldly. He had already ranked the strength of the 3 in his mind. The weakest was of course the white bone puppet, followed by Tang Huaiji. Gu Qi was stronger than Tang Huaiji, and the bone sword in his hand was better than Tang Huaiji's, so he was the strongest. In this situation, Yixian only had one way to fight, and that was to kill the white bone puppet first and quickly reduce the opponent's combat strength. The cold wind blew, but the four figures didn't move. At this time, Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi looked at each other and attacked at the same time. But when they looked at each other, Yixian also used Beast King Rampage. Bam! Yixian's strength instantly increased to 600 dragons. In terms of realm, although he was weaker than Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi by more than 20 dragons, he still had agility advancement. His speed had already surpassed 700 dragons. So fast! Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi were stunned, because Yixian's speed was much faster than when he killed the 100 Poison Sect's subsect leader in the poison array. Yixian's main target was the white bone puppet. Gu Qi knew that the white bone puppet was no match for Yixian, so he hurriedly controlled the white bone puppet to run in his direction. However, Yixian intercepted the white bone puppet midway. Underworld sword style, underworld burial. Yixian directly used his ultimate move on the white bone puppet. The white bone puppet wasn't an ordinary skeleton. Its joints were connected by a silver substance, so as long as this joint was destroyed, the white bone puppet would be crippled. Underworld burial sent out waves of qi to attack the white bone puppet. The white bone puppet reacted slower and was swept up in an instant. Kacha! Kacha! In an instant, the white bone puppet's sword-wielding arm fell to the ground. The enemy's combat strength was instantly weakened. Damn it! Gu Qi cursed. He didn't expect Yixian's realm to rise so quickly. He was almost catching up to them. Underworld sword style, underworld burial. Yixian slashed out once again. This time he crippled the white bone battle puppet's left leg. Now the white bone puppet posed no threat to Yixian at all. 3 against 1 instantly became 2 against 1. Die kid! Gu Qihua was furious. He had spent a lot of materials and time on this white bone puppet. Previously, when chasing Yixian, the white bone puppet had stepped on poisonous powder, which corroded its feet and reduced its movement speed. Now the joints of its arms and legs were destroyed, so he had to spend a lot of materials to repair it. Yixian's expression darkened as he formed the Dragon Slayer sword. Facing a pincer attack from 2 people, he had to put some distance between them. The Dragon Slayer sword was more than 2 meters long, so the distance was just right. Clang! 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 Although there were 2 opponents, Yixian's speed was astonishing, so he could handle them. The 3 people attacked quickly, but Yixian was even faster. He pushed his bloodline to the limit, and used the underworld sword style and silver feather movement style to the peak. However, it would take some time to kill 2 6th-level qi controlling realm masters like this. At this moment, Yixian's heart skipped a beat. What? What did you say? You want me to cut off the white bone puppet's neck? Then you can participate in the battle? Yixian was a little surprised. This was the message that Wei Zhentian sent him. Okay, I'll trust you this time. He didn't care about anything else. He instantly increased his speed to the peak and put some distance between himself and the 2 people. Then he suddenly turned back. Underworld sword style. Sword descends to the underworld. A slash pierced through the air and instantly cut off the white bone puppet's head. Then Wei Zhentian, who had been waiting in Yixian's storage space, suddenly appeared and rushed toward the white bone puppet. Chapter 443. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Dragon Slang. What the hell is that? Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji were both stunned. The white bone puppet was no longer a threat. The 2 of them didn't understand why Yixian would take the time to destroy the white bone puppet, nor did they understand what that green thing was. Gu Qi was even more surprised because he was the one who made the skeletal war puppet. Only he knew that the skeletal war puppet's neck was its weakness. Bam! Wei Zhentian turned into a pile of mud and landed on the skeletal war puppet. Then it disappeared bit by bit and seeped into the bones. The next moment, the white bone puppet fighter stood up again. What? Gu Qi's eyes widened in disbelief. He saw with his own eyes that the skeletal war puppet's arms and legs were destroyed and its head was cut off. But now it was back to normal. No, it was not back to normal. There was a puddle of silver liquid on the ground. Wei Zhentian had removed the connection points and used its own body to reassemble the skeletal war puppet. That's impossible! Gu Qi exclaimed. Even Yixian did not expect this. He glanced at Wei Zhentian's interface and saw that it had reached level 6 of the Royal Air Realm, 605 dragons. Wei Zhentian originally had 300 dragons. Now that it had merged with the skeletal war puppet, it had increased to 605 dragons. Good, you've really given me a surprise. A strange light flashed through Yixian's eyes. Clang! 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 The white bone battle puppet instantly switched sides to Yixian's side and joined the battle with its sword in hand. It, who was comparable to a rank 6 Imperial Qi cultivator, joined forces with Yixian and instantly suppressed Gu Qi and Tang Huaiji to the point of retreating step by step. It's time for the two of you to die. Yixian's morale was high because the skeletal war puppet was holding Tang Huaiji back. His opponent was Tang Huaiji. Damn it! Tang Huaiji cursed in his heart. They were originally neck and neck with Yixian, but with the addition of a level 6 skeletal war puppet, the situation was reversed. Swish! A cold light flashed, and a large chunk of flesh was cut off from Tang Huaiji's shoulder. Even his neck was grazed and blood flowed out. Tang Huaiji knew that he was finished. He, the Grand Sect Master of the Five Poisons Sect, had actually been reduced to such a state by a brat. Truly a disgrace. Brat, I will die, but so will you. Suddenly, Tang Huaiji shouted. Then, his body began to turn green, as if he was constipated. When Yixian saw this, he sensed that something was wrong and quickly retreated. Bang! Tang Huaiji's body exploded and his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. At the same time, countless black powders spread out. Poison hidden in his body? Yixian was shocked. This lord of the ghost tomb was indeed powerful. Tang Huaiji actually hid poison in his body. It was too terrifying. Fortunately, his speed was faster, and he was already 100 meters away, so the poison powder did not fall on him. Second brother. Gu Qi's eyes turned red when he saw his brother explode. They are actually brothers. When Yixian heard the shout, he was slightly surprised, but in the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Don't worry, you are going to accompany him soon. He quickly rushed out and shook off the poison powder with a few palm strikes. Then he obtained Tang Huaiji's interspatial ring. Ding! The host has broken through to 480 dragon power. His realm instantly skyrocketed. Now, his speed had reached 750 dragon power. Whoosh! He did not delay at all and quickly rushed out. Gu Qi was already prepared to die, but he did not want to die just like that. He had to drag Yixian down with him. He took out a jade bottle and poured it into his mouth. This jade bottle was not liquid but gas. Death Qi. Death Qi infusion bone explosion. Gu Qi looked at Yixian, who was rushing over and self-exploded like Tang Huaiji. Bang! Flesh and blood splattered, and bone powder was instantly blasted 100 meters away. Yixian's reaction was a little slower, and he was hit by the shockwave and flew out. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, he had more than 600 dragon power at this time. Otherwise, he would have died under this attack. This is too scary. One has poison in his body, and the other has even exploded his bones. This ghoul tomb lord is really not to be underestimated. Yixian stood up with difficulty, and in the next moment, he quickly rushed over. Just now, Wei Zhentian was around Gu Qi. Little Tian? Yixian shouted. The white bone battle puppet was already in a mess, and its specially refined hard bones were also shattered. However, Wei Zhentian was hiding in the bones of the white bone war puppet, so it survived. It crawled out and reformed into a small bird that landed on Yixian's shoulder. Huff huff, it's good that you are fine. Yixian glanced at the panel and found that Wei Zhentian had recovered 300 dragon power. It seemed that this had something to do with the skeleton it was residing in. Don't worry. This white bone war puppet is destroyed, but there is still a rank 8 Qi resisting warrior in his interspatial ring. When the time comes, I will learn how to refine a white bone war puppet, and I will refine a stronger one for you. Yixian comforted. Then he walked over and picked up Gu Qi's interspatial ring. Gu Qi's bone sword was good, so he put it into his interspatial ring. He would give it to Wei Zhentian when the time came. He sank his consciousness into the interspatial ring. Instead of devouring everything, he first began to search. Found it. The White Bone Secret Manual. Yixian took out a white book and put it into the devouring system. After learning the white bone secret manual, there was no proficiency, so he had learned it completely. Not only that, but he also found a good body movement martial art. Ding! The host has learned the Netherworld Ghost Steps. The current level is 10%. In the battle just now, Yinyu's body movement was much weaker than the Netherworld Ghost Steps, which led to a stalemate. If Yixian had learned the Netherworld Ghost Steps earlier, Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi would have been vulnerable in his eyes. Well, I've learned how to control the white bone puppet and how to refine it. But in Gu Qi's interspatial ring, there are not enough materials to refine a white bone puppet of Qi controlling level 8. Seems that I have to collect them. Wei Zhentian, you use this white bone puppet first. As Yixian spoke, he took out another white bone war puppet. This was Gu Qi's spare white bone war puppet, which only had 560 dragons. Yixian broke all the connection points on its body, then let Wei Zhentian merge with the white bone war puppet. Then, he started to devour the things that were not in the interspatial ring. Ding! The host has broken through to 500 dragon power. Gu Qi was a guardian of the Baigu group, and he had benefited the most from the massacre of the 100 Poison sect. He had directly helped Yixian break through to 500 dragon power. Now, the matter had come to an end, but Yixian was not in a hurry to go to the 5 Poison sect. Instead, he returned to the Poison Array. This time he wanted to slay dragons. Chapter 444. Chapter 444 Chapter 444 Imperial Qi Level 7. Yixian spent an entire day dismantling the 100 Poison sect's Poison Array. Then, he spent another day dismantling the 5 Poison sect's 10,000 poison kill injection. At this time the poison mist had already dispersed. Yixian continued to collect. Finally, the poison dragon found him. Roar! The poison dragon roared and drilled out of the cave. It spat out a mouthful of corrosive poison at Yixian in the distance. That day Gu Qi and the other two couldn't beat you. Today I want to see what you're capable of. Yixian took out the Bahuang sword and rushed forward with the dragon-slaying greatsword. This time he did not even use Beast King Rampage. The dragon-slaying greatsword had an increase in damage to dragons, and the effect of Dragon's Judgment was even more obvious. Coupled with the Beast King bloodline, it was not difficult for him to kill this poison dragon. But before that, Yixian still used this poison dragon to improve his Netherworld Ghost Steps. Ding! Netherworld Ghost Steps proficiency increased. Current proficiency is 40%. Ding! Netherworld Ghost Steps proficiency increased. Current proficiency is 50%. Ding! Netherworld Ghost Steps proficiency increased. Current proficiency is 60%. Ding! Netherworld Ghost Steps proficiency increased. Current proficiency is 70%. Yixian trained with this poison dragon for more than 10 minutes before he raised the Netherworld Ghost Steps to 70%. At this time, the Netherworld Ghost Steps was almost catching up to the speed of Silver Feather's movement technique at 100%. It's about time I'll kill you. Yixian's eyes flashed, and his speed instantly exploded. His feet flew in the air, and he swept to the side of the poison dragon. Dragon-slaying greatsword slash. Crack! This sword easily sank into the poison dragon's flesh. The poison dragon roared at the sky in pain. It turned around and swept out its claw, but it was easily dodged by Yixian. Crack! 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 The poison dragon was beaten by Yixian until it could not fight back. In less than 3 seconds, its head was cut off by Dragon's Judgment. Plop! This poison dragon's corpse fell to the ground and smashed out a huge crater. The Baigu group, in addition to refining human bones, can also use other bones. This poisonous dragon of the Royal Qi 6th level is a good choice. Yixian thought to himself. Although he had learned how to make a white bone puppet, he hadn't tried it yet, so he had to find a few corpses to practice. He peeled off the poison dragon's bones and kept them in the devouring space. Then, he began to sweep through the plantation. This piece of land was affected by the poison dragon, and the value of natural treasures increased. This piece of land allowed Yixian to increase his strength by 3 dragons, reaching 505 dragons. After that, Yixian found a place and used the materials in Gu Qi's interspatial ring to refine the dragon bone. The poison dragon was originally at Royal Air level 6, but if Wei Zhentian was directly lodged in this dragon bone, He would probably only have the strength of Royal Air level 5, so he had to use a special method to upgrade the bone. Yi Xian spent 3 days to finish refining the dragon bone. Wei Zhentian was so happy that he directly lodged in this dragon bone, and his combat strength also reached Royal Air level 6. Now Yi Xian was only at Royal Air level 5, and if he was in a hurry it would be good to use this Royal Air level 6 bone dragon. Together with a Royal Air level 5 bone puppet, even if he didn't make a move this time, the 5 poison sect would be finished. When he flew above the 5 poison sect on the bone dragon, the entire 5 poison sect was in an uproar. The 5 poison sect had sent out many elders before, but they were all killed by Yi Xian. At this time there were only a few Royal Air level 5 in the 5 poison sect. Yi Xian was not the same as before, and he didn't need to use Beast King Rampage to get rid of them. Kid, you really have guts, crossing over to my 5 poison sect to cause trouble? A 5 poison sect elder with 590 dragons shouted. He actually knew that Tang Huaiji and Gu Qi had teamed up, but he couldn't understand why there was another person from the Baigu group here, and why he came to the 5 poison sect to cause trouble. Is the sect leader of the 100 poison sect, Fengshan, a guest here? Yi Xian sat on the bone dragon's back and asked loudly. Nonsense, why would sect leader Feng be at my 5 poison sect? The elder retorted. However, he was the one who escorted the heavily injured Fengshan back that day. Since you don't hand it over, then don't blame me for being heartless. Yi Xian's eyes flashed, and he directly swooped down. What guts attack together? That elder shouted loudly, and immediately several elders of the 5th level of the Imperial Qi realm rushed out. At this time, Yi Xian had already landed in front of the 5 poison sect, and the poison array outside the 5 poison sect couldn't stop him at all. Kill! Tang Huaiji was learning from the 100 poison sect, and this time, Yi Xian was using the 100 poison sect's banner to learn from the 5 poison sect. Right now, the 5 poison sect didn't even have a Royal Air level 6, and couldn't stop Yi Xian and the bone dragon at all. In less than half a minute, the elders all died on the ground, no less than 10 of them. The 5 poison sect disciples were aghast, and hid far away, looking at the 2 killing gods in the distance. Unfortunately, these 5 poison sect elders only allowed Yi Xian to increase his strength by 5 dragons, reaching 510 dragons. After these elders were all dead, Yi Xian searched for Fengshan's whereabouts alone. Finally, he found Fengshan in a cave in the back mountain, with his tendons broken. It's you. When Fengshan saw Yi Xian, his expression was extremely aghast. Don't worry, your daughter is fine, I'll send you over now. Yi Xian removed the shackles on Fengshan's body. At the same time, he could see that Fengshan was poisoned, and there was no true qi in his body, but this was only temporary. Yi Xian couldn't be bothered to explain, and directly rescued him from the 5 poison sect, then sent him to the Flying Scorpion Pavilion. Coincidentally, he had also recovered his cultivation at this time. Then Yi Xian put him down, then floated away. This Fengshan was already so shocked that he was speechless. He knew that this time, he had received the help of an expert. But what he didn't understand was, if Yi Xian could control Whitebone, then why did he hide? Moreover, he dared to swagger and fly on the bone dragon. How audacious! However, Yi Xian was his savior, and he wouldn't be so ungrateful as to leave Yi Xian. At this time it could be considered to have come to an end. Yi Xian used this incident to greatly increase his strength, and was the one who benefited the most. As for the rest, he couldn't be bothered to care. Now, he was moving in a direction, and the place he wanted to go was the 100 Poison Sect. Young Master Shi and Elder Wu had been personally killed by him, and now only Steward Qiu was left. Previously, he had made an oath, and now he naturally had to fulfill it. However, just as he was about to reach the 100 Poison Sect, whoosh! A blood-red figure suddenly swept over from the horizon. Yi Xian turned around in shock, and found that a youth in blood-red clothes was rapidly approaching. When Yi Xian saw the flying dragons flying around the blood-red clothed youth, he was completely stunned. There were a total of 73 flying dragons. Chapter 445. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Dark Dragon Abyss. Holy **T. Rank 7 Imperial Qi. Yi Xian was shocked. He did not understand why a rank 7 Imperial Qi expert would appear here. Moreover, it was obvious that the young man in red was coming for him. Wei Zhentian retreat at full speed. Yi Xian did not care about anything else, and immediately ordered Wei Zhentian to flee at full speed. Fortunately, the young man in red was flying with air manipulation. His speed in the air was about the same as the skeletal dragon. "You're the one who massacred the 100 Poisons sect?" Suddenly, a cold voice entered Yi Xian's ears. He immediately realized that this person must be from the Blood Crow Divine sect. He felt helpless. This was such a big place, and this Blood Crow Divine sect expert was able to find him. His luck was really terrible. What made him even more helpless was that this Blood Crow Divine sect person had confused him with Gucci. Moreover, he could not explain it. "This is a tragedy. Steward Qiu, I'll let you live a little longer." Yi Xian rode on the skeletal dragon and crossed the 100 Poisons sect, running for his life. This young man was a rank 7 Imperial Qi expert and came from a big sect. His strength must be extraordinary. However, when the young man found Yi Xian, he suddenly threw a blood crow out. It was obvious that he was notifying the others. If Yi Xian was caught by him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, he could only run for his life. As long as the young man in red ran out of true qi, he would be safe. Although Yi Xian wanted to kill the young man in red, he held it in. Running for his life was more important. The two of them flew for more than a day, one running and the other chasing. "You can't escape. How dare the Baigu group people come to my Blood Crow Divine Sect's territory? I'll bring your head back." The young man in red was still chasing. He had provoked Yi Xian many times throughout the day. However, Yi Xian acted as if he did not hear anything and ran for his life. On the second day, the young man in red finally ran out of pills. He had no choice but to give chase. "Damn it, I can't believe he got away." The young man gave up and turned around to leave. Yi Xian heaved a sigh of relief as he watched the red-clothed youth leave. The red-clothed youth was really patient. He had actually chased after him for 2 whole days. If not for the lack of supplies, he would have continued to chase after him. The battle between the 3 major powers in the ghost tomb was a bit too intense. However, Yi Xian did not let his guard down and continued to fly forward for half a day. He now had a map of this area. Coincidentally, there was a place called the Dark Dragon Abyss in front of him, which was extremely suitable for him to train in. The Dark Dragon Abyss was filled with dragons. It was said that the big boss of the Dark Dragon Abyss was an Earth Dragon King. Moreover, there were countless flying dragons and earth dragons. This place might be dangerous for others, but it was not a problem for Yi Xian. Yi Xian rode his bone dragon to the entrance of the Dark Dragon Abyss. Refining a white bone battle puppet requires a large amount of bone powder, and the higher the realm, the better. The dragons in this Dark Dragon Abyss are at least rank 5 Qi controlling realm, so I should be able to raise my realm, Yi Xian thought to himself. This was the plan he came up with when he was being chased by the blood-red-clothed youth. To refine a white bone battle puppet, there were not many materials to be found in the Poison King Sect's 9 serenities, so he needed to enter the Corpse Master Sect's burial ground. However, before that, Yi Xian wanted to raise his strength first. Yi Xian landed on the ground, while Wei Zhentian controlled his bone dragon to fly in the sky. To deal with dragons, the Draconic Slaying Sword was naturally indispensable. Yi Xian estimated that the Draconic Slaying Sword would increase the attack power of dragons by at least 50%. If he used Dragon's Judgment, he should be able to double the attack power. As soon as he entered, he encountered several earth dragons. These earth dragons looked very similar to flying dragons, except that they lacked a pair of wings. Their strength was enormous, and when they ran they could shake the earth. Draconic Slaying Sword, Dragon's Judgment. Yi Xian directly slashed at the 3 earth dragons, charging at him 3 times. Rip! The 3 earth dragons were cleaved into 2 halves. Instant kill. Dragon's Judgment is indeed powerful. In this place, even if I don't use Beast King Rampage, I can still instantly kill dragons below rank 6 Qi controlling realm. Yi Xian thought to himself. He rushed over to collect the 3 earth dragons' corpses and the sacred beast's soul, then directly devoured them. Not bad. If I sweep through this Dark Dragon Abyss, I wonder how much my strength will increase. Yi Xian thought to himself as he entered the Dark Dragon Abyss. In the sky, Wei Zhentian began to investigate again. This bone dragon's body was huge. Even if it flew high in the sky, it was still very conspicuous. What surprised Yixian was that when Wei Zhentian returned, he brought back a large group of flying dragons. Damn, their aggro is so high. Yixian was shocked. It seemed that these flying dragons saw their own kind's bones being used, so they chased after Yixian and wanted to eat him alive. However, these flying dragons were all here to die. Kill! Yixian shouted and suddenly rushed forward. All rank 5 flying dragons were instantly killed by Dragon's Judgment. As for rank 6 flying dragons, they could dodge a few, but in the end they couldn't escape death. A total of 60 flying dragons were all killed by Yixian in less than a minute. Ding! The host has broken through to 515 dragon force. After that, Yixian continued to enter the dark dragon abyss, his strength rapidly increasing. There were thousands of flying dragons in the dark dragon abyss. The deeper one went, the stronger they were. At this time, Yixian encountered almost all rank 6 flying dragons. After half a day of slaughter, Yixian's strength had increased to 530 dragons. He estimated that if he were to exterminate all the dragons in the dark dragon abyss, he would be able to increase his strength to at least 550 dragons. This was still a conservative estimate. He continued to go deeper, his strength increasing little by little. I don't know how strong the Earth Dragon King of this dark dragon abyss is, but according to the realm of these flying dragons, it should be at most rank 7. Yixian secretly estimated in his heart. He could still deal with a rank 7 flying dragon king, but he was afraid of a rank 8 flying dragon king. That would be a bit troublesome. However, since there were so many flying dragons here, he could just continue to increase his strength. This time, roar! Suddenly, a deafening roar entered Yixian's ears. Following that, the earth began to shake, as if a huge monster was coming. Could it be that Earth Dragon King? Yixian paused and raised his guard. The earth shook, and Yixian's figure constantly rose and fell. But then Yixian frowned. The huge monster coming towards him wasn't just 1, but 2. Roar! The roar was deafening. Yixian turned his head and saw 2 huge heads appear on the cliff. Earth dragons! Yixian jumped in fright. These 2 earth dragons' eyes were bigger than his entire body. It was very frightening. Rank 7 Flying Dragon King? Yixian frowned. It seemed that these 2 were the bosses of the Dark Dragon Abyss. Chapter 446. Chapter 446 Chapter 446 Bloodcrow Divine Sect, Bang! The 2 earth dragons were huge in size. They were like 2 meteorites that landed on the ground. The ground shook from the impact, and one of the stone walls collapsed from the impact. Come! Yixian did not waste time and directly used Beast King Rampage to rush forward. The scales of these 2 Earth Dragon Kings looked very hard, so he had no choice but to use Beast King Rampage. 530 dragons. With the buff from Beast King's Rampage, he would soon reach 700 dragons. Therefore, these 2 Earth Dragons were living targets. 8 Desolation Dragon Slaying Sword, Dragon's Judgment. Yixian moved quickly and directly used Dragon's Judgment. After the increase of Sword Saint Bloodline, Beast King Bloodline, and 8 Desolation Dragon Slaying Sword, this attack could only break the scales of the 2 Earth Dragon Kings and barely hurt them. Impossible, these 2 Earth Dragon Kings are Royal Chi level 8? Yixian instantly reacted. At this time, the 2 Earth Dragon Kings also roared and launched an attack. Previously, Yixian miscalculated and judged the 2 Earth Dragon Kings to be Royal Chi level 7 Earth Dragon Kings. However, this did not matter. The corpse of a Royal Chi level 8 Sacred Beast was 100 times more precious than a Royal Chi level 7 Earth Dragon King. Moreover, these 2 Earth Dragon Kings were huge. Other than their claws and tails, their attack methods were still not as fast as Yixian. Dragon's Judgment! Dragon's Judgment! Dragon's Judgment! Yixian did not hesitate to use a large amount of true Qi, but because the 2 Earth Dragon Kings were strong, the attack could only hit a little, but it was enough to break their defense. Yixian used dozens of times in a row and beat 1 Earth Dragon King until it was covered in blood. However, at this time the true Qi in his body was not enough. Although the recovery speed of the Sacred Tree of Life bloodline was strong, it could not withstand such consumption and needed to rest for a while. At this time, Yixian held 8 Desolation Dragon Slaying Sword and attacked. If he only used 8 Desolation Dragon Slaying Sword to attack, the effect would naturally not be as good as Dragon's Judgment. However, Yi Xian was faster. An 8 Desolation Dragon Slaying Sword could also use Underworld Sword technique, so the damage caused was not lower than Dragon's Judgment. These two Earth Dragon Kings were also helpless. Encountering someone with fast speed, they could only take a beating. In less than 2 seconds, one of the Earth Dragons had its hind leg chopped off by Yi Xian and collapsed to the ground. Next, Yi Xian attacked its neck. The other Earth Dragon King chased after Yi Xian and madly attacked him, but it was unable to catch Yi Xian. My Junqi is almost fully recovered. Dragon's Judgment. Swish! 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 This time his aim was very accurate. In addition, this Earth Dragon King's speed was greatly reduced, so all of his dragon's rulings hit. An enormous head was forcefully chopped off like a collapsing stone statue. Then it fell to the ground, stirring up endless smoke and dust. When the other Earth Dragon King saw that its mate was killed, it immediately went crazy. However, it was still not a threat to Yi Xian. After Yi Xian recovered his Junqi, he would kill it. 2 Imperial Qi level 8 Earth Dragon Kings fell just like that. 2 Imperial Qi level 8 Dragon Bones. Although it can't compare to the human bones obtained by Gu Qi, it's still very good. Yi Xian put away the 2 corpses with satisfaction. The refinement of the white bone battle puppet was based on volume. The larger the bone, the more materials it would consume. Therefore, Yi Xian was prepared to exchange these 2 dragon bones for materials after entering the burial grounds. Of course, he could also directly devour them, which could also increase his strength by a lot. Now that the 2 Earth Dragon Kings were killed by Yi Xian, he could be considered to be no threat in this dark dragon abyss. Therefore, he decided to continue sweeping the Earth Dragons and Wyverns. However, just as he turned around, he saw 3 blood-colored figures suddenly sweeping over from the horizon. Blood Crow Divine Sect? They really are like ghosts that won't go away. They can even catch up like this. This time Yi Xian was not prepared to hide. Because his realm had increased by a lot, it was enough to kill that Imperial Qi level 7 youth from before. Although there were 2 more people, Yi Xian was not afraid. It really is you. I finally found you. The youth in blood-red clothes who chased Yi Xian that day stood in the air and looked coldly at Yi Xian. At this time there were 2 people standing next to him. Their realms were also above 700 dragons. You guys really are like ghosts that won't go away. Yi Xian said coldly. Kid, how dare you behave so atrociously in my Blood Crow Divine Sect's territory? Die. The youth in blood-red clothes said as he swooped down. This time he was just passing by the Dark Dragon Abyss to kill some Earth Dragons. He did not expect to encounter Yi Xian. This time he was not going to let him go. Good timing. Yi Xian shouted. Although the duration of Beast King Rampage had passed, if he could kill these 3 people, what harm would it do to use it again? Boom! His 530 dragon power soared again. He was only a few dragons away from 700 dragons. This youth in blood-red clothes might have a better movement technique than the Netherworld Ghost Steps, but Yi Xian had a 20% increase in movement speed. He was not afraid at all. In an instant, the 4 of them began to fight. The sound of weapons clashing was endless. Some of the Earth Dragons and Flying Dragons who were attracted by the fight earlier stopped to watch. These sacred beasts were not idiots. Yi Xian and the rest were based on them. Naturally, they could see that Yi Xian and the rest were much stronger than them. Blood Crow Rush. 3 clouds of blood-red true qi rushed toward Yi Xian, but they were all dispersed by Yi Xian. The 3 of them were using the same set of sword techniques, and their coordination was very good. The blood-red light flashed and it gave them some pressure. However, Yi Xian was still able to deal with it easily. This kid is so strong. If that's the case, why did he run away that day? The youth in blood-red clothes thought to himself as he attacked. At this time he was glad that he came with his 2 junior brothers. Otherwise he would be in deep trouble. Pung! 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 The sound of true qi clashing was deafening, and it spread like thunder. Looking at the situation, the difference in strength between the 2 sides was not big. If the youth in blood-red clothes and Yi Xian were to fight one-on-one, he would have been killed by the Bahuang sword. At this time the youth in blood-red clothes suddenly shouted, Junior Brothers Blood Crow Killing Formation. Yes. When the other 2 heard it, they immediately responded. Battle formation? Yi Xian was shocked. He did not expect the other party to know the formation that the three of them used. This was going to be troublesome. The three of them instantly got into formation, and their attacks were nearly twice as fierce. This time, Yi Xian was beaten into retreat. If I had met you guys just now, I would have been dead. But now it's you guys who are going to die. Yi Xian thought to himself. Suddenly, he devoured the soul of a level 8 sacred beast. Ding! The host has broken through to 550 dragon power. In an instant, Yi Xian's aura skyrocketed. His realm had surpassed the other two, and he was only second to the youth in blood-red clothes. What? Chapter 447. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation entering the burial ground. Kill. Taking advantage of the other party's surprise, Yi Xian instantly exploded and attacked one of them. Underworld sword style, underworld burial. Streaks of aura hit that person, tearing his body apart in an instant. The battle formation was broken as a result. The Blood Crow killing formation was a battle formation that kept attacking and became stronger as the battle progressed. However, if one of them was injured and reacted slowly, the Blood Crow killing formation would have to be reorganized. However, it was not as simple as just being injured. Underworld sword style, underworld sword descent. An eerie slash cut through the air and decapitated the Blood Crow divine sect's disciple. Oh no, retreat. The young man in red reacted quickly and shouted immediately. However, before he could finish his sentence, the other person had already reached the gates of hell. No, he had already stepped into it. Whoosh! Another head was sent flying. Now, the young man in red was the only one left. Yi Xian darted forward and collected the two's universe rings before devouring them. Ding! The host has broken through to 570 dragon power. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was an organization that was on the same level as the Baigu group. The two young men were elites and were quite wealthy. When he saw the flying dragon around Yi Xian's body, the blood-red clothed youth also fell into despair. This F*King breakthrough again, what the F*CK was this? Damn you, the Blood Crow Divine Sect will not let you get away with this. The young man in red's eyes flickered as his body turned red. Just as Yi Xian was about to reach him, he exploded. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. What? Yi Xian wanted to cry but had no tears. Why would all the sects in the ghost tomb self-destruct? Poison explosion, bone explosion, blood explosion. All of them were timed. The impact sent Yi Xian flying. Even his right arm was fractured from the impact. At the same time, a blood crow entered his body. F*CK, your big cousin. Is it something like the soul-chasing mark again? Yi Xian cursed. Now, he had become a GPS transmitter. If there were other Blood Crow Divine Sect members around, they would definitely come for him. However, this was not a bad thing. If more people came, he would continue to kill. After the young man died, he left behind an interspatial ring. Yi Xian went over and took the interspatial ring. 575 dragons. This battle allowed Yi Xian to increase his strength by 25 dragons, which made him very satisfied. However, just as Yi Xian was secretly rejoicing, another figure appeared from the horizon. Sure enough, they are here. Yi Xian looked up and his expression changed. This time, the one who came was actually a level 8 Imperial Qi cultivator. Run! Without any hesitation, Yi Xian turned around and left. Although he had just killed 2 level 8 Imperial Qi Earth Dragon Kings, a normal sacred beast could not be compared to a human martial artist. Even the young man in red could kill those 2 Earth Dragon Kings. However, the one who came was a super powerhouse who was 100 dragons stronger than the young man in red. Yi Xian had to leave before the duration of Beast King Rampage ended. Kid, how dare you kill my Blood Crow Divine Sect member? Don't you dare run. The old man shouted angrily. Walk your grandma's leg. Yi Xian cursed. Fortunately, the Blood Crow Divine Sect member came a little later. Otherwise, Yi Xian would be dead meat. With a burst of speed that was comparable to a level 9 Imperial Qi cultivator, he pulled away from the Blood Crow Divine Sect member in an instant. However, this was just relying on Beast King Rampage. If time passed, Yi Xian would be slowly closed in and killed. Yi Xian wanted to cry but had no tears. It felt like he had just snatched a child's lollipop and then met an adult. He felt helpless. Kid, don't you dare run. The experts of the Blood Crow Divine Sect cursed from behind. Yi Xian relied on the Beast King's berserk to open up a distance of 10,000 meters. However, with the imprint in his body, the experts of the Blood Crow Divine Sect chased after him relentlessly. Beast King Rampage's duration is about to end. Damn it, one more time. Yi Xian painfully used Beast King Rampage again and ran for his life again. He could not go on like this. He would be in trouble when Beast King Rampage could no longer be used. However, he already had a plan in mind. The Dark Dragon Abyss was located at the border of the Abysmal Land. The burial ground was just a short distance away. The sects in the two territories were hostile to each other. Therefore, Yi Xian wanted to enter the burial ground. Perhaps the Blood Crow Divine Sect member would back off. I'm finally here. When Beast King Rampage's duration was about to end, Yi Xian saw an obvious change in the environment. The Abysmal Land was darker while the burial ground was brighter, making it seem more sinister. Smack! When Yi Xian charged into the burial grounds, the large stone in his heart also fell. He turned around and saw that the Blood Crow Divine Sect member was stunned for a moment. Haha, chase me if you dare. Yi Xian laughed out loud. However, he did not expect the Blood Crow Divine Sect member to continue the chase. Kid, don't you dare run back to the burial ground. I'll be scared off. The Blood Crow Divine Sect member shouted. Yi Xian's face was gloomy. You won't die if you don't ask for it, he thought. Both of them went deeper into the burial ground. Just when Yi Xian was about to use Beast King Rampage for the third time, he suddenly saw a few silhouettes passing by in the sky. At the same time, the silhouettes also saw Yi Xian and the Blood Crow Divine Sect member behind Yi Xian. It's the Blood Crow Divine Sect. How dare they enter the burial ground? They must have a death wish. Junior brothers, kill them. A long-haired man shouted and immediately turned around and rushed toward Yi Xian's direction. Seeing that, Yi Xian quickly landed on the ground and summoned his white skeleton war puppet to show that he was not from the Abysmal Land. There are disciples from the Baigu group. The long-haired man immediately ignored Yi Xian and rushed toward the Blood Crow Divine Sect member. He had also summoned a white skeleton war puppet, and so did his 3 junior brothers. The 10 of them immediately launched an attack on the Blood Crow Divine Sect member. That was close. We've encountered people from the Baigu group and they're all at Royal Air Level 7. Yi Xian's eyes flashed. The long-haired man in the lead had 750 dragon power, while the other 4 had around 730 dragon power. Their abilities were very powerful. Not only that, but their white skeleton war puppet was also at Royal Air Level 7, so they were considered as 10 Royal Air Level 7 elites. Just 10 Royal Air Level 8 elites and you want to fight me? Die all of you. The Blood Crow Divine Sect member was in high spirits as he swung the long sword in his hand wildly. Immediately, a few true energies mixed with Blood Crows swept out. Blood Crow Rush. However, the 5 people from the Baigu group were not weak either. They used all their strength to destroy those slashes and surrounded them. Sky-ripping White Bone Claw. Heart-piercing Bone Spike. 9-section Bone Sealing Lock. Chapter 448. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Something was wrong. Yi Xian, who was not far away, was also stunned. It seemed that this burial ground was not to be underestimated. The battle between 10 chi-wielding level 7 fighters and a level 8 fighter from the Blood Crow sect was intense. The Blood Crow sect fighter had underestimated the opponent's strength in the beginning, which led to him being pinned down. After all, it was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. His face darkened. After a cold snort, he stomped his feet and leaped into the air. With that, there were 5 fewer enemies. However, he was too naive. Rock Battle Puppet. In an instant, the 5 skeletal battle puppets disappeared, and 9 rock skeletons appeared. What? The Blood Crow sect fighter's expression changed. He did not expect the opponent to have 5 rock skeletons. This was a tragedy. Damn it, you bastard. You killed my Blood Crow sect member. I won't let this go so easily. Baigu group, just you wait. The Blood Crow Divine Sect's elite scolded before turning around and leaving. Senior brother, should we go after them? A Baigu group disciple turned around and asked. The long-haired disciple shook his head and said, forget it. The blood crow movement technique of the blood crow sect is better in the air. We won't be able to catch them. The 5 of them decided to give up the chase. Then they landed on the ground. Yi Xian was very grateful to the 5 of them. At the same time, he also understood that they should be the super elites of the Baigu group because Guardian Guqi was only a level 6 fighter. Thank you for your help, senior brothers. Yi Xian quickly gave them a fist salute. At that moment, he needed to disguise himself as a Baigu group disciple. Junior brother, how did you get into trouble with the Blood Crow sect? The long-haired young man walked over. This junior brother, I was walking outside and bumped into a few disciples of the Blood Crow divine sect, so I killed them. After that, I bumped into him. Fortunately, a few senior brothers passed by, otherwise, junior brother's life would be in danger. Yi Xian fabricated a lie. I see. The long-haired young man nodded. The next moment he frowned and asked, Oh right, why do I feel like you're a stranger? Who's your master? Hearing that, Yi Xian's heart skipped a beat and said, I'm Guardian Guqi's disciple. He did not know much about the Baigu group and only knew Guqi, so he could only say so. Guardian Guqi? I see. The long-haired youth said with a smile, I see that you're almost at the 6th level of the Royal Air Force. Are you interested in going to a place with us? Where? Yi Xian immediately raised his guard. Let's go to the one-line sky. It is said that there is a young heavenly dragon there. This time we are going to kill it and obtain its bones. The long-haired youth said. Sky dragons were also dragons, but they were much stronger than wyverns. They had the strength of 1,000 wyverns. There were a total of 3 stages in the aura realm: aura control, aura refining, and aura energy. Just entering the first rank of chi refining meant that one had the strength of a dragon. Then I'll have to trouble you. Yi Xian nodded. It was good to see the world. Maybe there would be other benefits. Okay, we're only a few steps away from the one-line sky. Let's fly there. The long-haired young man took the lead and flew in a certain direction. As for Yi Xian, he also raised his flying dragon and followed. However, when Yi Xian arrived at the one-line sky, he regretted it. Because there were other people here, and there were many of them. Senior, why are there so many people? Yi Xian could not help but ask. Of course, although that sky dragon is only at level 8, it's very strong. We're here to help Elder Tan. The long-haired young man said. Elder Tan. Yi Xian was stunned. The long-haired young man was surprised and said, Why? Elder Tan is your grandmaster. Don't you know that his white bone puppet was damaged half a year ago? What, grandmaster? Yi Xian was shocked and his face turned pale. Why didn't you say so earlier? He claimed to be Guqi's disciple. If Elder Tan was his grandmaster, it meant that Guqi was Elder Tan's disciple. Oh no, what if I expose myself? I have to find an excuse to leave. Yi Xian thought. However, at that moment a figure suddenly flew over from not far away. It was a level 8 Imperial Qi expert. Greetings, Elder Tan. The long-haired young man and the others hurriedly greeted him when they saw him. Elder Tan. Yi Xian rolled his eyes. Why was his luck so unpredictable? He actually bumped into Elder Tan. First, he killed 3 elites of the Blood Crow Divine Sect. Then, he was hunted down by the Blood Crow Divine Sect's experts and was saved by the long-haired young man. Now, he actually bumped into Elder Tan, his grandmaster. Yi Xian, what are you waiting for? Why don't you greet your grandmaster? The long-haired young man said. Grandmaster? This surprised Elder Tan. He asked, Whose new disciple is he? Guardian Guqi. The long-haired young man said. Is it that kid? He doesn't even cultivate properly. Why is he so eager to recruit disciples? Elder Tan snorted. Hearing this, Yi Xian breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Elder Tan had quite a number of disciples. At the very least, he did not know all of them. Alright, Fu Shihao, come with me. Elder Tan could not be bothered with Yi Xian. He directly called the long-haired young man away. Yi Xian finally felt relieved. Fortunately, Elder Tan did not suspect anything. However, he had to find an excuse to leave. Although he was not recognized, there were many experts here. It would be a tragedy if he was exposed. After the long-haired young man left, Yi Xian also gave a fist salute to the remaining 4. For senior brothers, I suddenly remembered that I have something to do. I'll take my leave first. After he finished, he turned around and was ready to leave. However, at that moment, "Stop!" Suddenly, a disciple called out to him. Yixian stopped in his tracks and turned around with a smile. "Senior brother, is there anything I can help you with?" The person who called out to him was one of the four. He was short, only about 1.6 meters tall. He walked to Yixian's side and circled him. "Junior brother, why do I feel that something is wrong with you?" Boom! This sentence was like a bolt from the blue that struck Yixian's head. As expected, he was suspected. "Senior brother, what is wrong with junior brother?" Yixian forced a smile. "Everything is wrong." The short young man circled him again and glanced at the other three. "Tell me, what is Guardian Guqi's surname?" Yixian's smile froze. He blurted out, "Tang." He had heard Tang Huaiji call Guqi big brother, so Guqi's surname should be Tang as well. In fact, the short young man did not know the answer to this question. He was just looking at Yixian's reaction. Then the short young man asked again, "All right, senior brother Fu Shihao is the top 3 in the inner disciples. Tell me, what is his rank?" Yixian's face darkened again. How would he know? However, there was a 1/3 chance. He could guess. Chapter 449. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Not owing each other at this moment, Yixian was ready to retreat. If he made a wrong guess, he would leave quickly. Third, he made a random guess. As soon as he said that, the short young man and the other 3 people's faces darkened. Fu Shihao was ranked 4th among the disciples of the Baigu group. How dare you pretend to be a disciple of the Baigu group? You must have killed someone from the Baigu group and cultivated the Whitebone secret manual, right? The short young man's eyes lit up. "I've been exposed." Yixian narrowed his eyes. In fact, he really did not want to be exposed by these 4 people. After all, they had saved him once. However, there was nothing he could do. "How dare you pretend to be a disciple of the Baigu group, kid? Tell me, who did you kill?" Another disciple walked over and put a hand on Yixian's body. Yixian's face darkened. At this point, there was no turning back. Although he would have to bear the infamy of being ungrateful, there was nothing he could do in this world where the strong were respected. Beast King Rampage. 575 dragons instantly increased to 750 dragons. Rip! Rip! 2 crisp sounds were heard. The arms of the short young man and the other person were cut off. Yixian quickly took their interspatial rings and rushed to the other 2 people. These 4 people and Fu Shihao had saved their lives, so he showed mercy this time. However, the interspatial rings would not do. The short young man was dumbfounded when he saw his arm fly up. He could not understand how a person who had not even reached level 6 of the Imperial Qi could cut off the arm of a level 7 Imperial Qi warrior. When he turned around, he saw Yixian cut off the other 2 people's arms and quickly flew away. At this moment, Yixian's realm had reached 600 dragons. Level 7 of the Imperial Qi? The short young man was stunned again. When Yixian was rushing with him, he was only at level 5 of the Imperial Qi. Now he had reached 780 dragons. Since when were wyverns able to hide? "Senior brother, that Yixian is impersonating our Baigu group's disciple." The short young man reacted and shouted in Fu Shihao's direction. Fu Shihao, who was talking to Elder Tan, turned his head when he heard the shout. He was stunned. The arms of his 4 junior brothers had all been chopped off, and blood was gushing out from their wounds. Fu Shihao turned his head again and glanced at Yixian's back. He did not expect that Yixian was actually an imposter. He even concealed his strength and cut off the arms of his 4 junior brothers and stole their cosmos rings. "Good lad. You dare to impersonate my grand disciple?" Elder Tan also reacted. At this time, Fu Shihao suddenly intercepted him and said, "Elder Tan, it was me who had eyes but failed to see, and didn't distinguish that it was an imposter. I'll go and kill him." "No need." Elder Tan was also interested in Yixian's ability to conceal his strength, so he immediately rushed out. That young sky dragon was in the one-line sky anyway, so it would not run away. He would capture Yixian first. Fu Shihao also followed closely behind. This time it was his responsibility. Yixian, who was fleeing, glanced back and saw 2 figures running toward him. Fu Shihao with 750 dragons, Elder Tan with 810 dragons. Yixian narrowed his eyes. Although Elder Tan's whitebone puppet was damaged, he definitely had a backup, and so did Fu Shihao. Fu Shihao saved my life, so I won't kill him. As for Elder Tan, he's Gucci's master. Kill him. Yixian immediately made up his mind, but he did not turn around immediately. Instead, he took out a level 7 whitebone puppet from the devouring space. It belonged to the short young man. Wei Zhentian, stop one of them. Yixian summoned Wei Zhentian, who quickly removed the connection points of the whitebone puppet and fused with it. Then Yixian took out another whitebone puppet, which was also at level 7. This whitebone puppet was controlled by him. Now it was 3 against 4. Kill. What? Elder Tan and Fu Shihao were stunned. Even though they were members of the Baigu group, they had never seen someone controlling 2 whitebone puppets at once. Wei Zhentian and the other whitebone puppet charged toward Elder Tan. Their mission was to stop Elder Tan for a while, and Yixian's primary target was Fu Shihao. To be precise, it was Fu Shihao's interspatial ring. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Get lost. Elder Tan slashed out with his sword with the strength of 810 dragons, directly splitting the whitebone battle puppet controlled by Yixian into 2. However, Yixian was already in front of Fu Shihao. You saved my life, so I'll spare yours. Yixian swept out with his sword, chopping off Fu Shihao's wrist and taking away his universe ring. It all happened so quickly that Fu Shihao and his whitebone puppet could not react in time. But they could not be blamed. After all, Yixian was cautious and did not retreat at full speed. Yixian only burst out with a speed of more than 900 dragons when his opponent caught up with him. Ding! The host has broken through to 605 dragons. Although it was only an increase of 5 dragons of strength, it was enough. Crack! At this time, Elder Tan also slashed Wei Zhentian in half. However, Wei Zhentian would not be killed by this slash. It immediately reformed into a small bird and left. Its mission had been completed. It had successfully stalled Elder Tan for a moment. Die, Elder Tan! Yixian flashed in front of Elder Tan like a ghost and slashed his sword with a sinister aura. Clang! Elder Tan was also considered an expert. He blocked this attack. Yixian slashed again and was blocked again. But when Yixian slashed a third time, Elder Tan heard a gust of wind behind him. Then a sharp blade pierced his back. Who was it? He turned his head in horror and found a green whitebone puppet. Wei Zhentian. Go to hell. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yixian quickly slashed his sword. Rip! Elder Tan's head flew and fell instantly. Although Wei Zhentian only had 300 over dragons, his attack could not hurt Elder Tan too much. However, he attracted Elder Tan's attention. Yixian had been coveting the interspatial ring of a level 8 chi-wielding powerhouse for a long time. Ding! The host has broken through to 620 dragons of strength. Plop! Elder Tan's corpse fell into Fu Shihao's eyes. You! Fu Shihao was so shocked that he could not speak. Yixian was even able to kill Elder Tan, so why was he chased by the people from the Blood Crow Divine Sect? Could it be that this was a trap? You saved my life, so I'll spare yours. Now we don't owe each other anything. Yixian said coldly and put away Elder Tan's corpse. He then turned around and left. Chapter 450. Slaying the Sky Dragon. Originally, these people were here to help Elder Tan kill the young Sky Dragon. But now that Elder Tan was dead, what was there to kill? Soon, this group of disciples from the Baigu group rushed back to the sect to report the matter to the sect master. At the same time, they wanted to arrest Yixian. But what they didn't know was that Yixian didn't leave. A Sky Dragon's bones, huh? They should be better than the average level 8 Saint Beast, right? Yixian looked at the backs of the Baigu group disciples as they left and revealed a cold smile. After the Baigu group disciples left, Yixian entered the one-line sky alone. There was a huge cave in the depths of the one-line sky. Presumably, the Sky Dragon was in there. He continued to go in and was very careful. After a few minutes, he saw a slender giant dragon. Earth dragons and wyverns were very similar, but Sky Dragons and wyverns didn't have many similarities. Wyverns were big, but Sky Dragons were a bit like flood dragons except that they had a pair of wings. This Sky Dragon was red in color, and its body seemed to be at least 100 meters long. It looked at Yixian, who was walking in, and snorted a few times. "Sorry, I need a set of dragon bones." After Yixian finished speaking, he abruptly activated the Beast King's Berserk. 620 dragons instantly soared to over 800 dragons. Kill! In an instant, Yixian rushed in front of the Sky Dragon, and then fiercely slashed with Dragon's Judgment. Clang! The slash quickly landed on the scales of the Sky Dragon, but it was only barely able to crack the scales. What a strong defense! The difference between this Sky Dragon and the two Earth Dragon Kings is like heaven and earth. As expected of a powerful species, Yixian couldn't help but sigh. There were many unfairness in this world. At the same level, Sky Dragons were much stronger than wyverns. Roar! The red Sky Dragon roared and opened its bloody mouth to spit out a dragon breath at Yixian. Yixian quickly dodged, but the place where he had been standing had already been burned into a large crater. This was one of the Sky Dragon's attack methods, Dragon Breath. The Sky Dragon's defense is very strong. We have to kill it while the Beast King Berserk lasts. Yixian began to attack crazily. First he used up all the true chi in his body. Then he used the 8 Desolation Dragon Slaying Sword to slash. This Sky Dragon was indeed difficult to deal with. It was no wonder that the Baigu group had brought so many experts. If those people from the Baigu group were to fight against this Sky Dragon, they would most likely suffer casualties, and they might not even be able to kill it. However, Yixian relied on speed to make a living. This heavenly dragon was the same as those two Earth Dragon Kings. They couldn't catch him and could only let their scales slowly grind off before their heads were chopped off. After the Sky Dragon's head fell to the ground, Yixian's Beast King rampage ended. It's finally chopped off. I thought I would have to use the second Beast King rampage. Yixian breathed a sigh of relief. Next, he would have to dissect this Sky Dragon and take out the dragon bones. Ding! The host has broken through to 640 dragon power. When Yixian swallowed the dragon corpse and the sacred beast soul, he also heard the system's notification sound. Now, if he used Beast King Rampage again, his speed would probably reach level 1 Chi Refinement Realm. If he improved a little more, he would be invincible in the Chi Refinement Realm. At this time, Wei Zhentian couldn't help but jump out. Don't worry. I'll give you the Sky Dragon bones when I'm done refining them, Yixian said with a smile. This Sky Dragon's realm should be around 850 dragons. If he wanted to refine it, he would naturally need the best materials. When the time came, he might even be able to reach level 9 Chi Refinement Realm. Although he had obtained a lot of interspatial rings, he could only refine a level 8 Chi Refinement Realm at most. It was not enough to reach level 9 Chi Refinement Realm. So, next he would go to a place called the City of Bones. Then, he would sell the finished skeletal war puppets he obtained in exchange for refining materials. In the boneyard, the Baigu group was not the only one who could control and refine skeletal war puppets. It was just that the Baigu group was the only one in the vicinity, so Fu Shihao and the others naturally thought that Yixian was a member of the Baigu group. At this time, Yixian left the One-Line Sky. The City of Bones was the hub of several nearby bone sects. Many of the sect's disciples would go there to purchase materials or finish skeletal war puppets. Yixian spent 2 days rushing to the City of Bones. Before he entered the City of Bones, he saw a huge beast skeleton at the city gate. It looked like a dinosaur in a museum. When this sacred beast was alive, it was the barbaric bull demon that Yixian saw before. According to others, this barbaric bull demon once killed its way into the City of Bones. With its strength of level 9 Chi Refinement Realm, it caused great destruction. In the end, the city lord of the City of Bones killed it and refined it. Then he placed it here as a warning. Yixian took a closer look and found that this level 9 Chi Refinement Realm sacred beast skeleton was set up with many formations. No one could take it away even if they wanted to. After entering the city, Yixian also found a place to eat. After that, he went to the largest Myriad Bone Market in the Myriad Bone City. There were all kinds of people here, and many people would set up stalls to sell their own refined white bone battle puppets. However, most people would refine them with human bones. After all, human beings were smaller than sacred beasts. Moreover, they had the same habits, so it was relatively easier to control them. Hey little brother, are you here to buy something or to sell something? As soon as Yixian entered, a person came up to him. Yes, I'm here to buy, Yixian replied. Then come to our shop. We buy corpses. Of course, if you have the corpses of powerful sacred beasts, we'll buy them too. But you have to be at least level 6 Chi refinement realm. We also have many finished skeletal war puppets. We even have 10-year and 100-year skeletons, said the man with a treacherous smile. 100-year skeletons were the skeletons of powerful warriors who had died 100 years ago. Such skeletons were better than those that had just died. The skeletal war puppets refined from such skeletons were stronger. I have many finished skeletal war puppets, Yixian replied again. The man was stunned, then smiled and said, I understand. Little brother, this way please. Generally, sects would have a group that specialized in refining skeletal war puppets. These skeletal war puppets were specially used. However, such sects usually sold them together. They would never be sold by one person. Therefore, Yixian obtained these skeletal war puppets by killing people. The man led Yixian into a shop on the side. This feeling was similar to when he went shopping in the electronic city in his previous life. Then the man led Yixian into a private room. There are 123 skeletal war puppets that have been refined. Among them, 33 are level 6 Chi refinement realm and 13 are level 7 Chi refinement realm. Yixian took out the useless skeletal war puppets. The man was shocked. There were even 13 skeletal war puppets of level 7 Chi refinement realm. It seemed that Yixian was not an ordinary person. Chapter 451. Translator. Hinyi Translations Editor. Hinyi Translations. The matter was exposed. The man was in this line of business, so he began to distinguish the quality of the white-bone puppet fighters. However, when he saw a level 7 human-shaped puppet fighter, his body could not help but tremble. Golden-threaded puppet fighter? The man said in shock. He suddenly had an ominous premonition in his heart, because he knew the refiner with the golden-threaded lines on the surface of the skeleton. Are these puppet fighters all from the Baigu group? The man frowned, and his heart couldn't help but beat violently, because his shop was one of the Baigu group's strongholds in the City of Bones. The white-bone puppet fighters refined by the disciples and elders of the Baigu group would occasionally be sent here to be sold. At the same time, the shop also bought materials and sent them to the Baigu group. The refiner of this golden-threaded puppet fighter was an elder of the Baigu group, and then he gave it to one of his disciples, whose name was Fu Shihao. The man was a protector of the Baigu group. How could he not recognize this? Good boy, you killed my Baigu group's people, and you dare to come here with something. You're walking right into a trap. The man narrowed his eyes. Because his back was to Yixian, the latter didn't feel anything strange. He just thought that the man was checking the golden-threaded puppet fighter. Soon the man checked them one by one. When he saw the other white-bone puppet fighters, he was even more surprised, because one of them was the puppet fighter of Elder Tan of the Baigu group. This person's strength is actually so powerful that even Elder Tan died at his hands. The man had his back facing Yixian as he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He was only at the 6th level of Imperial Qi, so he naturally wasn't Yixian's match. After all, Elder Tan was at level 8 Qi realm. The sect leader and the elders are also in the City of Bones. I'll inform them. This boy is dead. The man immediately adjusted his mentality, then turned to Yixian and said with a smile, Your Excellency, I've seen all your white-bone puppet fighters. They're all upper grade. Do you want them? Or do you want to exchange them for refining materials? Exchanging all of them for refining materials, Yixian replied. Right now, he had 3 corpses of Qi controlling Realm 8 in his Cosmos Ring, 2 human bones and 1 heavenly dragon bone, so he needed a lot of refining materials. Among them, the human bone dug out from the 9 Serenities was the best. After all, it had been dead for many years, and there was death Qi in its bones. When refined, it would be more powerful than others of the same level. Exchanging all of them for refining materials? Alright, I've estimated the price of your skeleton puppets. The man quoted a price. Before entering Myriad Bone City, Yixian had learned about the price of these skeletal puppets from some people's interspatial rings, so he estimated the price of these skeletal puppets. However, the price that this man quoted shocked him because it exceeded his expectations. It was almost 50% higher. Just now, he said that these white bone puppets were all upper grade. It seems that the Baigu group is very good at refining white bone puppets. Yixian didn't think much of it and immediately agreed. Then he made a list for the man. Most of the items on the list were materials for refining white bone puppets, and there were also a lot of ores for Wei Zhentian. Wei Zhentian only had 300 dragon power now. He was too weak and could easily die. Moreover, the higher his realm, the easier it would be to control and the stronger his combat power. Alright, we have these things, but we don't have enough in our shop. We have to get them from other shops. Please wait a moment, sir. The man said. Okay. Yixian nodded and put away the white bone puppets. Then the man left quickly. At this moment, Yixian didn't doubt him. After the man left, Yixian waited alone in the private room. He waited for a while, but the man still didn't come back. However, the materials he needed were a little complicated, so it was reasonable that the man took his time. Yixian was a little helpless, so he decided to wait outside the shop and see the world. But just as he stepped out of the shop, he saw a group of people hurrying toward him, and that man was among them. Oh no! Yixian's face suddenly changed, because he saw that this group of people were wearing the same clothes. They were actually people from the Baigu group. Now Yixian understood. It turned out that this shop was opened by the Baigu group, and that man obviously recognized those white bone puppets, so he went to inform them. There were many people from the Baigu group, and the leader had reached 880 dragon power. In addition, there were several experts of Royal Qi level 8, and dozens of Royal Qi level 7 experts. Yixian was a little shocked, and he secretly sighed that the Baigu group was so powerful that there were so many experts in their stronghold in the City of Bones. However, he didn't care at all and just watched quietly. This group of people came aggressively, and the people around them immediately packed up and jumped away. In the blink of an eye, there were not many people on the street. They're people from the Baigu group. What's going on? What are they doing? My god, that's the leader of the Baigu group. He already has 880 dragon power, and he's very strong. He's actually in the City of Bones? Hey, that kid is their target. What's going on? Why are so many people alarmed? Did this kid kill an elite disciple of the Baigu group? The people around them flew into the sky and whispered to each other. Although there was a city lord in the City of Bones, there were 3 major forces in the City of Bones that no one dared to provoke, and the Baigu group was one of them. If they gossiped and were targeted by the Baigu group, they would really die without a complete corpse. In the burial ground, there was no such thing as the dead is the best. If one died in the burial ground, their corpses would generally be sold. The good ones would be refined into battle corpses, and the bad ones would be dissected and their bones taken out and refined into white bone puppets. The leader of the Baigu group led a group of people and rushed in front of Yixian. At this time, only the people of the Baigu group and Yixian were left on the street. The leader of the Baigu group looked at Yixian and said, "It's him." The man who received Yixian just now nodded and said, "Yes, it's him." He took out the golden thread puppet, and he even has Elder Tan's puppet. Elder Tan? When they heard this, the crowd who was watching the show in the air turned pale with fright. This kid actually killed an elder of the Baigu group? No, it should be said that this kid actually dared to kill an elder of the Baigu group. They had seen many geniuses, but at this time, Yixian's courage was even more shocking. Good boy, you even dared to kill an elder of the Baigu group. Tell me your name. The leader of the Baigu group asked coldly. He had lived for so many years and had developed a cautious character, constantly reminding himself not to judge a book by its cover. Yixian gave him a very mysterious feeling. When he heard the leader of the Baigu group, Yixian just said lightly, "I don't talk to dead people." Boom! Chapter 452. Lord of 10,000 Bones. Dead people. This brat actually dared to call the leader of the Baigu group, an expert with 880 dragon power, a dead person. Even if you want to die, you don't have to be so direct, right? However, there were still many people who wondered if Yixian had some sort of background. After all, in this region, not many people dared to kill a disciple of the Baigu group, let alone an elder. Who are you? Why do you have the white bone puppet of an elder of the Baigu group? The leader of the Baigu group couldn't help but ask. If you want to fight, then fight. What's with all this nonsense? Yixian was getting a little impatient. If it was in the past, he would definitely quibble and say that he obtained those things by chance. But now he already possessed great strength, so why waste time? Good boy, let me have a go at you. An elder of the Baigu group didn't believe it. He left the team and rushed toward Yixian. Although there was a rule against fighting in the 10,000 Bone City, the Baigu group had some influence in the 10,000 Bone City, so small fights were not a problem. Be careful, the leader of the Baigu group reminded him. Unexpectedly, before he could finish his words, the head of this elder with 820 dragon power flew into the air. Instant kill. So fast even I couldn't see his speed clearly. How is this possible? Elder Zhang is 830 dragons stronger than Elder Tan. That brat also has 830 dragons, no 840 dragons. The people from the Baigu group were shocked. But at this moment Yi Xian made his move. Since things had already come to this, they might as well go all the way and wipe out the Baigu group. This elder could be considered wealthy, allowing him to increase his strength by 10 dragons, reaching 650. Adding on the Beast King's rampage, he reached 840. Although he was slightly slower than the leader of the Baigu group, his speed was definitely not something these people could keep up with. Kill! The leader of the Baigu group shouted. Now that things had come to this, he could only fight. Immediately, all the people of the Baigu group took out their Whitebone puppet fighters. However, if the person controlling the Whitebone puppet fighters died, these Whitebone puppet fighters would just be decorations. Yi Xian activated Beast King Rampage and rushed into the crowd, slaughtering everyone. Yi Xian rushed into the crowd, and the first person he killed was the Baigu group's sect master. He only used one strike to kill the Baigu group's sect master, an expert with 880 dragon power. In less than 5 seconds, more than half of the Baigu group's team had been killed or injured. Screams of agony rang out continuously on this avenue. Blood splattered everywhere, and there were already more than 30 corpses. After the Baigu group members died, their interspatial rings were taken away by Yi Xian and devoured. Ding! Host has broken through to 660 dragon power. Ding! Host has broken through to 670 dragon power. Ding! Host has broken through to 680 dragon power. Now Yi Xian did not deliberately hide his Beast King Rampage. Anyway, with his strength he could almost do whatever he wanted in this area. Just as the people of the Baigu group were about to be killed, a figure suddenly swept across the sky. This figure was so fast that it landed on the ground in an instant, and then attacked Yi Xian. Who is it? Yi Xian was a little surprised, but he did not think too much about it. He just swung his sword at the newcomer. Bang! This sword was blocked by the opponent. At the same time, Yi Xian also saw the person's face clearly. It was a middle-aged man with a square face. However, when Yi Xian saw the flying dragon flying around this person, he was also stunned. Sky Dragon. This middle-aged man actually had the Sky Dragon power, which meant that this middle-aged man had surpassed level 9 Qi refining and reached level 1 Qi refining. This Thousand Bones City actually has such an expert? Yi Xian was shocked and quickly retreated. This middle-aged man did not take advantage of the victory to chase after Yi Xian. He quietly looked at him. When the people in the sky saw this middle-aged man, they could not help but exclaim, "City Master?" This middle-aged man was the City Master of Thousand Bones City. Everyone was flabbergasted because in their memories, the 10,000 Bones City Lord only had 950 dragon power, but now, he had actually reached 1 heavenly dragon. However, they could understand why. After all, the last time the City Master of Thousand Bones City fought was several years ago. It's the City Master of Thousand Bones City. This is troublesome. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. Now he was fighting in Thousand Bones City, and Thousand Bones City was the City Master's territory. It would be strange if the City Master did not intervene when he fought in his territory. You don't know the rules of Thousand Bones City? The City Master of Thousand Bones City looked at Yi Xian. They want to kill me. Am I supposed to stretch my neck out for them to kill? Yi Xian replied coldly. The City Master of Thousand Bones City narrowed his eyes. Even so, you broke the rules I set. I can't just sit by and watch. As soon as he finished speaking, he attacked again. Yi Xian did not waste words. He would fight first and then talk later. Now Yi Xian had 680 dragon power, and with the addition of Beast King's Rage, he was almost 900 dragon power. With the addition of his dexterity, he was faster than the City Master of Thousand Bones City. However, there was a huge gap between the Qi refining stage and the Qi controlling stage. Yixian's speed did not pose a threat to the city master of Thousand Bones City. In fact, he was at a disadvantage. As expected of a first-stage qi refining stage, the city master of Thousand Bones City doesn't seem to want to kill me. Otherwise we would have to fight to the death. Yixian thought to himself. The two fought for 30 rounds, then separated. You are very strong. I have decided not to hold you responsible this time. The city master of Thousand Bones City suddenly said something that shocked everyone. Not to hold him responsible. The surviving elders of the Baigu group looked at each other in confusion. Did the city master of Thousand Bones City really say that? City master, he killed our sect leader, one of the elders hurriedly said. But before he could finish, the city master of Thousand Bones City punched through his chest and killed him instantly. Damn! Yixian raised his eyebrows. This middle-aged man was really something. He killed him without hesitation. Noisy! The city master of Thousand Bones City said coldly. Now Yixian finally understood why the city master of Thousand Bones City did not continue the fight. This time he had wiped out the Baigu group. Wouldn't that mean that the city of Thousand Bones City had one less power in the future? As for why the city master of Thousand Bones City did not do it himself, it was because of his status. If the city master of Thousand Bones City destroyed the Baigu group himself, the world would think that the city master of Thousand Bones City was greedy. Who would come to Thousand Bones City then? However, it was different if Yixian did it. You really won't hold me responsible? Yixian narrowed his eyes. I won't. You can go. The city master of Thousand Bones City nodded. If you won't hold me responsible, why do you want me to leave? I want to buy some refining materials. Yixian replied. The city master of Thousand Bones City said again. Then you can go now. What do you want? What do you want? Tell me. Is that so? Chapter 453. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Up to no good intentions, the onlookers were also stunned. The two men who were fighting fiercely just a moment ago were now buying things on the spot. At the same time, they were extremely envious because the things Yixian took out were enough to establish a sect. The price is a little high. The city lord of Myriad Bones must be up to something. Yixian's eyes flickered. After buying all the useless things, he left under the watchful eyes of the crowd. He left just like that? What's wrong with the city lord? Why did he let him go? This person's background is definitely not simple. The city lord must be afraid of the power behind him. Poor Baigu group. It's going to be destroyed by the other two sects. The onlookers muttered in low voices. Soon Yixian disappeared from everyone's sight. However, he did not leave the city. Instead, he found a nearby inn to stay. Now, he was going to start refining the heavenly dragon bone. Originally, he could have devoured the materials, but Wei Zhenqian kept asking him to refine the heavenly dragon bone, so he had no choice but to do so. Fortunately, he had enough materials this time. After all, he had killed many powerhouses, including those with 880 dragon power. He also gave the body of the Baigu group sect leader to the city lord of Myriad Bones. Before he left, he saw the surviving elders of the Baigu group looking like they were going to eat him alive. Yixian spent 2 days refining the heavenly dragon bone. Yixian only spent a day digging up the corpse of the level 8 chi-controlling warrior in the abyss. As for the other corpses, Yixian took them all. Although the corpses were a little shocking, he really did take them. With these 2 white bone battle puppets, Yixian's strength had increased by quite a bit. After all, these 2 white bone battle puppets were meticulously refined by him. After consuming a large amount of refining materials, they had both reached the 9th stage of the qi-resisting stage. It's time to leave. Yixian stretched. He had been inside for 3 days, refining the heavenly dragon bone in pieces, so the others did not know what he was doing. He came out of the house and looked around. Sure enough, someone was spying on him, but he didn't know which side they were from. However, if anyone dared to target him, he wouldn't mind killing them again. Then he left the Thousand Bones City. He flew in a random direction for a while, but didn't find anyone following him. Am I being paranoid? Are you just afraid that I'll cause trouble in the city? Yixian thought about it for a moment and decided to ignore him. Since the other party was here, He was going back to the 9 Serenities to take revenge. However, his thinking was too simple. Half an hour after he left the 10,000 Bones City, a figure appeared in the sky. Yixian turned to look. Sure enough, it was the city lord of 10,000 bones. The lord of the 10,000 Bones City had used Yixian's hands to destroy the Baigu group. He had let Yixian leave in front of so many people, and now he was chasing after him. He probably wanted to kill him and steal his treasures. City lord of 10,000 Bones City, why are you looking for me? Yixian said as he landed on the ground. After all, his realm was only 680 dragons. The ground was his home ground. You know what I'm going to do. The city lord of 10,000 Bones City looked down at Yixian. If that's the case, why don't you make a move? Yixian narrowed his eyes and took out 2 skeletal war puppets. Sky Dragon Bones? The city lord of 10,000 Bones City was surprised, but he was even more confused about why Yixian took out 2 skeletal war puppets. Sky dragons were huge and harder to control than wyverns. Besides, there was already a humanoid skeletal war puppet. What was this one for? In the next moment, he saw a small green thing suddenly shoot out from Yixian's body. It enlarged infinitely and attached itself to the heavenly dragon bone. The entire heavenly dragon bone seemed to be covered in a layer of green armor. What is this thing? The city lord of 10,000 Bones City saw the sky dragon bones fly up. He knew that it was not Yixian controlling them, but that strange thing. However, he was just curious. He did not care at all. He was a first-level Qi refinement realm cultivator with the strength of a sky dragon. He could destroy the sky dragon bones with one punch. I have to thank you, City Lord of 10,000 Bones City. If it weren't for the materials you gave me, I wouldn't have been able to refine this sky dragon bones. Yixian's lips curled slightly. So what if you're a first-level Qi refinement realm cultivator? I'll fight you all the same. That day, because they were in the city, Yixian could not go all out. Today there was no one else and the space was very spacious. With 2 9th-level Imperial Qi refinement realm skeletal war puppets, Yixian was not afraid of the city lord of 10,000 Bones City at all. At such a young age, you can control 9th-level Imperial Qi refinement realm skeletal war puppets. Your aptitude is not bad. However, your realm is not enough. You can't use the true strength of this 100-year-old war puppet. The city lord of 10,000 Bones City said. He had a unique vision. At a glance, he could see that this humanoid war puppet was at least 50 years old. Is that so? Then you can try. Yixian did not move. Well, then I'll see what ability you have. How dare you attack my city lord of 10,000 Bones City? The city lord of 10,000 Bones City shouted and rushed toward Yixian with his bare hands. Capture the leader first. As long as he killed Yixian, the 2 9th-level Imperial Qi refinement realm skeletal war puppets would not be able to move. However, he was too arrogant and underestimated the 2 skeletal war puppets. Not to mention the sky dragon bones, even the humanoid war puppet was very strong. This forced him to change his plan and focus on the humanoid war puppet first. You want to destroy my skeletal war puppet first? Have you asked for my permission? Yixian's arrogance surged, and he attacked crazily with the skeletal war puppet. Not only that, Wei Zhentian in the air was also constantly waving his claws and swinging his tail. The city lord of 10,000 Bones City kept retreating. That day in the city of 10,000 Bones City, the city lord of 10,000 Bones City did not want to kill Yixian, so he did not reveal his true strength and fought to a draw with Yixian. Today, he had used all his strength, but he could not do anything to Yixian because of the 2 9th-level Imperial Qi refinement realm skeletal war puppets. He was very regretful. If he had given Yixian so many things in order to pretend to be better, he would have killed Yixian today. However, Yixian was a little worried. He was not sure that he could kill the city lord of 10,000 Bones City who was in the first level of Qi refinement realm. The two sides fought fiercely for hundreds of rounds, but the city lord of 10,000 Bones City also found Yixian's weakness, which was his slow flying speed. Therefore, he directly jumped into the sky and attacked Wei Zhentian first. Demon-slaying fist. The city lord of 10,000 Bones City punched. Wei Zhentian, because of his huge body, could not dodge and was hit directly. Bang! Wei Zhentian's whole body shook violently, and a hole was punched in his green armor. Fortunately, the sky dragon bones were very hard, so he was not injured. However, at this time, the sky dragon bones were exposed to the air, and Wei Zhentian had not repaired the hole. Demon Slaying Fist. Chapter 454. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The second celestial dragon. Damn it. Yi Xian cursed in his heart. If he and the white bone battle puppet worked together, the 10,000 Bone City's Lord wouldn't be able to do anything to them. But now, the 10,000 Bone City's Lord was using Wei Zhentian as an example. At this moment, he was wondering if he should leave with Wei Zhentian. If this continued, the situation would not be good. However, just as Yi Xian's Beast King rampage was about to end, a red figure suddenly appeared in the sky. Yi Xian glanced at it and was surprised. The Blood Crow sect? When the elites of the Blood Crow sect flew, they would emit a red light. However, this time Yi Xian was mistaken. The one flying toward them was not an elite of the Blood Crow sect, but a sacred beast, a celestial dragon. What? The city lord of 10,000 bones was a little surprised. Celestial dragons were rare in the ghost tomb. Now there was another one, and it seemed to be a chi refinement celestial dragon. This was bad. With such a situation, the city lord of 10,000 bones did not dare to continue attacking. Instead, he dodged to the side to see what the celestial dragon was going to do. However, the chi refinement celestial dragon flew directly toward the city lord of 10,000 bones and launched an attack. What's going on? Coming to the rescue of injustice? Yi Xian was stunned. A celestial dragon came to his rescue. What was going on? In the next moment he understood. Perhaps the celestial dragon was helping him because of Wei Zhentian. However, he felt that something was not right. Wei Zhentian was only residing in the dragon bones. Could it be that the young celestial dragon I killed was this celestial dragon's child? Yi Xian's eyes widened. Most likely, it was because he had taken out the heavenly dragon bone to battle that this heavenly dragon sensed it and rushed over. Then it saw the city lord of 10,000 bones attacking Wei Zhentian, so it was angry. Forget it. No matter what, let's kill this city lord of 10,000 bones first. Yi Xian threw caution to the wind and activated Beast King Rampage again, charging forward. Although the sky dragon had joined the battle, it was still 3 against 1 because the humanoid skeleton puppet could not fly, so it could only watch from the ground. However, Yi Xian's battle prowess had more than doubled. Damn it, damn it. The 10,000 Bones City Lord cursed in his heart. Originally, he already had the advantage. If he was given more time, he would be able to destroy the heavenly dragon bone, and then it would be Yi Xian's turn. It was a pity that a heavenly dragon whose realm was even higher than his suddenly appeared. This sky dragon was far more threatening than the flying Yi Xian, so the city lord of 10,000 bones prioritized dealing with it. Bang! 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 Thunderous sounds continued to spread. This battle was extremely intense. The sky dragon attacked the city lord of 10,000 bones like a madman. At the same time, Yi Xian and Wei Zhentian also attacked with all their might. Under their combined efforts, the city lord of 10,000 bones city lord was finally injured. He was hit in the shoulder by Yi Xian, and a small piece of flesh was cut off. Blood dyed his green robe red. His expression became extremely gloomy. If this continued, he might die here. So he could only run. He immediately turned around and prepared to flee back to the city of 10,000 bones. However, the sky dragon was the overlord of the sacred beasts in the air. This sky dragon was much faster than him, and Yi Xian was on the ground. There was no way he could escape. Damn it, am I going to die here today? The city lord of 10,000 bones city lord was very unwilling. He originally wanted to kill and steal the treasure, but he did not expect this to happen. This was really a tragedy. Even if I die, I will not let you have it easy. The city lord of 10,000 bones city lord gritted his teeth and burned his vital energy. It was not easy for him to break through the shackles of 999 dragons. If he burned his vital energy, he would fall back to level 9 of the chi-controlling realm. However, there was no other way. However, this sky dragon was not to be trifled with. It began to fight desperately. As for Yi Xian, he could not help but retreat, afraid that he would be caught in the crossfire. The man and the dragon fought fiercely. The city lord of 10,000 bones city lord burned his vital energy. Although his strength increased a little, He still could not kill the sky dragon. Then, his level began to fall and he finally fell to level 9 of the chi-controlling realm. However, he also severely injured the sky dragon. This is a good chance. Yi Xian's eyes lit up. He attacked crazily with the sky dragon and Wei Zhentian. He knew that the City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord was finished. My life is over. The City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord was in despair. He could not kill the sky dragon even after burning his vital energy. Now that his level had fallen, there was nothing he could do. After his level fell, his speed decreased. The sky dragon focused and spat out a scorching dragon breath. Boom! The heat wave instantly surrounded the City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord. However, the City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord was still a City Lord. The City Lord of 10,000 Bones City was much more powerful than the Baigu group. How could he be killed by the dragon breath? However, just as he was gathering his vital energy to block the dragon breath, a sharp slash came from not far away and hit his chest. Bang! The City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord was suddenly hit. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. In an instant, his whole body was burning. His screams were like the tolling of a bell. No! The City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord let out an unwilling roar. In less than 3 seconds, his body was burned to ashes. He's dead? Yi Xian's eyes widened. The dragon breath was too powerful. The City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord, who was at level 1 of the chi-refining realm, did not even leave behind a corpse. At this time, the sky dragon suddenly turned its head and looked at Yi Xian. Oh no! Yi Xian's face darkened. He immediately dodged. The next moment, a scorching pillar of fire came at him. The sky dragon's breath. The sky dragon really wanted to kill everyone. Fortunately, Yi Xian dodged in time. Otherwise, he would have been hit. Yi Xian quickly dodged, but the sky dragon's eyes were fixed on Yi Xian. Its head moved with Yi Xian's movements. Unfortunately, the temperature of the sky dragon's breath was too high. The City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord's interspatial ring was burned. Otherwise, Yi Xian would have killed the sky dragon in an instant with the interspatial ring. The sky dragon's breath was still going. Yi Xian's speed was not enough. The pillar of fire was getting closer and closer. At this critical moment, a sharp object suddenly stabbed into the sky dragon's eyes. It was Wei Zhentian's claw. Good! Yi Xian shouted. The sky dragon was probably avenging its son. Although it risked its life to kill the City Lord of 10,000 Bones City Lord, it still wanted to kill Yi Xian. Therefore, Yi Xian had to fight back. The sky dragon was so angry that it wanted to kill Yi Xian with its breath. However, it was attacked by Wei Zhentian and lost its sight. It immediately let out a deafening roar. Chapter 455. Annihilated? Dragon-slaying sword of the 8 Desolation, Dragon's Judgment. A slash pierced through the air. Yi Xian's attack power was far superior to that of the Myriad Bones City Lord. After all, the dragon-slaying sword of the 8 Desolation was specifically used to slay dragons. This slash landed directly on the heavenly dragon's huge and slender body, instantly causing great damage. This attack was definitely stronger than the Myriad Bones City Lord's 3 punches. Dragon's Judgment. Dragon's Judgment. Dragon's Judgment. Yi Xian did the same as before. He quickly used up all the true chi in his body and crazily used the Dragon's Judgment, all of which landed on the heavenly dragon's head. After a few rounds, the heavenly dragon, which was already heavily injured, slowed down significantly, and its reaction speed was greatly reduced. The threat to Yi Xian was infinitely close to 0. Roar! The heavenly dragon, like the Myriad Bones City Lord, let out an unwilling roar. In fact, it had been holding on from the beginning, but now it could not hold on any longer. It flapped its wings and directly fell from the sky. Plop! The heavenly dragon's body fell, deeply embedded in the ground, and wailed there. I know you want to avenge your son, but after all, this is a world where the strong preys on the weak. Go! Yi Xian muttered, and used his recovered true chi to use the dragon's judgment again. Xiao! A huge slash sank into the heavenly dragon's forehead, splitting its head open. A first-level chi-refining heavenly dragon was also slumbering here. After its death, Wei Zhentian could not help but descend. Yi Xian thought it was emotional, but unexpectedly it was cheering. urging Yixian to quickly refine the heavenly dragon's bones. After all, Wei Zhentian was not a human but a strange beast. It was not even an animal, so how could it have feelings? Well, watch me collect it. Yixian sighed in his heart, then rushed down and collected the heavenly dragon's corpse. Ding, the host has broken through to 740 dragon power. The heavenly dragon's flesh and blood and the holy beast's soul directly increased Yixian's strength by 60 dragon points. His chi refinement rank was truly extraordinary. Although it was a pity that the city lord of Myriad Bones City lost his interspatial ring, the sky dragon's corpse had greatly increased Yixian's strength. Now that the city lord of 10,000 Bones City was dead, what Yixian had to do was to plunder his city lord mansion and take away the Imperial Chi Stage 9 at the city gate. Immediately, he headed toward the 1,000 Bones City. Even the 10,000 Bones City Lord couldn't do anything to him before, so even if the entire 10,000 Bones City worked together, they wouldn't be a threat to him. First, he came to the entrance of the city of 10,000 Bones and destroyed the defensive formation around the barbaric bull demon White Bone battle puppet, then took it away. Then, he began to loot the city lord's mansion and its properties. The entire city of 10,000 Bones was in an uproar. Who was so bold as to attack the city of 10,000 Bones? However, these experts of the city of 10,000 Bones were all here to give Yixian benefits. When Yixian left the city of 10,000 Bones half an hour later, his strength had increased to 760 dragon points, a total of 20 dragon points. Then he found a quiet place to refine the sky dragon bone of the first stage chi refinement realm. Fortunately, the materials he looted were just enough for him to refine the sky dragon bone. He felt that it was a pity because if these materials were used to refine humanoid battle puppets, he could have made at least 3 of them. However, since Wei Zhentian liked it, it was worth it. At this time, Yixian was already on the sky dragon bone of the first stage chi refinement realm, flying toward the abyss. His strength was also above the first stage chi refinement realm, and the Blood Crow Divine Sect was just a force on par with the Baigu group. Even if he didn't do it himself, he could easily destroy the Blood Crow Divine Sect. It took him 2 days to fly back to the abyss. Then, he first went to the 100 Venom Sect and killed Steward Chiu in an instant with lightning speed. Steward Chiu was still doing some kind of exercise on a female disciple when his head suddenly fell off, and blood spurted all over the female disciple. The entire 100 Venom Sect was in an uproar. Someone sneaked into the 100 Venom Sect and killed someone. Did they have a death wish? However, there was a more important news that spread outside at this time. A mysterious group of assassins suddenly appeared in the abyss, and they had already slaughtered dozens of cities and sections. If the dead were to be added up, the number was calculated in hundreds of millions. Not only that, many of the dead people in these sects and cities had turned into resentful spirits. The so-called resentful spirits were mutated after death after suffering unbearable torture in their lives. These resentful spirits would actively attack the living things around them. Moreover, they were difficult to injure with swords and could penetrate buildings. Only true chi could destroy them. This mysterious group of assassins came from the Land of Ghosts in the Ghost Tomb region. This was the Land of Ghosts, and they captured people's souls to cultivate. They were extremely bloodthirsty. At this time, Yixian was heading toward the Blood Crow Divine Sect. Soon he arrived at the Blood Crow Divine Sect. However, the situation here was beyond Yixian's expectations. The Blood Crow Divine Sect had been reduced to ruins. All of the disciples in the sect were dead, and no one survived. When Yixian arrived, there were still many wailing sounds coming from the sect. Who is it that is slaughtering the Blood Crow Divine Sect? Yixian was shocked. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was similar to the Baigu group in the burial grounds. If one wanted to slaughter them, one would need to have at least the combat strength of level 9 Imperial Chi. However, there was no news of any level 9 Imperial Chi powerhouse in this area. Yixian sat on the back of the sky dragon skeleton and watched in the air. At this time, a figure suddenly swept into the sky. Tsk tisk, there's someone from the burial grounds. A sinister voice fell into Yixian's ears. Yixian was shocked. He turned around and saw a young man in white. The young man had a wicked smile on his face. He was dragging a strange black bead in his hand. The way he looked at Yixian was a bit like looking at a prey. When Yixian noticed the young man's level, his body trembled. This young man was level 1 Qi refinement realm. To be exact, it was 1050 dragons. There was a level 1 Qi refinement realm powerhouse here. How was this possible? Who are you? Yixian frowned and asked. The Thousand Wraith Sect. The young man with the sinister smile answered simply. The Thousand Wraith Sect. When Yixian heard that, he immediately reacted. This was because he saw vengeful spirits in the Blood Crow Divine Sect. This Thousand Wraith Sect should be a force in the Land of Ghosts. In the Land of Ghosts was the strongest of the 3 territories in the Land of Ghosts. This was because they were only vengeful spirits. Vengeful spirits were not afraid of poison, nor were they afraid of white-bone battle hounds. Therefore, they were the most difficult to deal with. He did not expect to see a powerhouse from the Land of Ghosts today. Aren't you afraid that the Poison King sect would send people here to kill a sect at level 1 Qi refinement realm? Yixian asked. Chapter 456. Great changes in the 9 serenities with that. The young man waved his hand. The black pearl in his hand lit up, and a vengeful spirit flew out. This vengeful spirit was a middle-aged man. He had an ordinary face, but his eyes were red. His entire body was translucent, and his fingernails were long and sharp. It was unknown what level this vengeful spirit was at. Go! With the young man's shout, the vengeful spirit pounced towards Yixian like a fierce tiger. So fast! Yixian's eyes flashed as he activated Beast King's Rampage. 760 dragons' power increased to 990 dragons, almost reaching the peak of the Qi controlling stage. Oh, you're quite capable. The young man was surprised. He had only released this vengeful spirit to test Yixian's strength. It only had 800 dragons' power. Vengeful spirits were different from when they were alive. Their entire body was full of weak points. Once they received a certain amount of damage, they would die. However, the most effective way to kill them was to cut them in half. Although Yixian only had 760 dragons' power, he still had the Bahuang sword and the underworld swordsmanship. It was extremely easy for him to kill a vengeful spirit that only knew how to attack with its fingernails. However, after Yixian killed the vengeful spirit, the young man released 2 more vengeful spirits. This time they were Qi refining vengeful spirits. If you're dead, go reincarnate. Why are you scaring people? Yixian didn't care at all. In an instant, he burst forth with a speed that made the young man's heart palpitate. He killed the 2 vengeful spirits of the first-level Qi refining vengeful spirits. Looks like I've kicked an iron plate. How dare you kill 2 of my first-level Qi refining vengeful spirits? I'll skin you alive and pull out your tendons. The young man thought to himself. He raised the black pearl in his hand. In an instant, a large number of vengeful spirits appeared around him. There were at least 100 of them, and among them there were even 4 first-level Qi refining vengeful spirits. How can this kind of thing do anything to me? Yixian snorted coldly. He charged forward and ordered Wei Zhenqian to attack the young man. To be honest, Yixian hated race because there was no benefit to killing them. In order to capture bandits, one must first capture the leader. Charge! Yixian instantly increased his speed and charged towards the young man with Wei Zhenqian. Not good. The young man's expression changed. Yixian's strength had exceeded his expectations. The people from the Land of Wandering Souls were not as strong as the people from the Land of 9 Serenities and the Land of Buried Bones. If Yixian got close to him, he would be dead for sure. You think you can kill me? The young man snorted and released another vengeful spirit from the 100 Spirits Pearl. This spirit was given to him by his master. It was at the 2nd level of the Refinement Qi realm, but he could only control it with some effort. So what if you're in the 2nd level of Qi refining? Yixian's eyes glowed brightly. His sword gleamed like a gust of wind and swept out, clearing away the surrounding resentful spirits. Although the attack power of a 2nd-rank Qi refining vengeful spirit was astonishing, its speed was still inferior to that of Yixian. Die! Yixian directly passed by the 2nd-rank Qi refining vengeful spirit and arrived in front of the young man. Just as the young man was about to retreat, he was caught by a giant claw. Immediately, Yixian chopped off his head. Although the people from the Land of Wandering Souls were strong, they usually moved in groups and used the vengeful spirits to kill their opponents. However, The people from the land of wandering souls neglected their own strength in order to master the control of the vengeful spirits. If the vengeful spirits could not do anything to their enemies, they would be easily killed unless they could suppress their enemies in terms of level. This young man obviously specialized in controlling vengeful spirits. Unexpectedly, he encountered Yixian, who relied on his speed and was easily killed. Once the young man died, the released vengeful spirits broke free from his control. However, after Yixian obtained the 100 Spirits Pearl, they instantly calmed down, including the second-rank Qi refining vengeful spirit. Controlling vengeful spirits really requires a lot of mental strength. Come in, all of you, Yixian thought to himself. When he obtained the young man's interspatial ring, he had already learned the secret tome of wandering souls of the Thousand Wraith sect and learned how to control vengeful spirits. However, he could only control them temporarily. In less than 2 seconds, the vengeful spirits around him were sucked into the 100 Spirits Pearl. At this time, Yixian felt a slight swelling pain in his head. This was the aftereffect of using too much mental strength. After all, he had just learned about controlling vengeful spirits and had not cultivated his mental strength before. Then, he began to check the contents of the young man's interspatial ring. Ding! The host has broken through to 800 dragon power. It was another qualitative leap. From 760 dragon power to 800 dragon power, he had reached the 8th level of the Royal Qi realm. Before Yixian could get excited, he found something in the interspatial ring. It was a list. The names on the list were all sects and cities in the region, and even families that were established outside the region. This is a planned cleanup. Are they trying to turn this area into a wasteland? Yixian casually threw the list into the Devouring system. He did not pay much attention to it. After all, this matter had nothing to do with him. However, he still felt that it was better to inform the 100 Poisons sect. After all, the 100 Poisons sect was once a springboard for him to become stronger. However, just as Yixian arrived at the 100 Poisons sect on the heavenly dragon bone, he saw a figure laughing coldly in the air above the 100 Poisons sect. Inside the 100 Poisons sect, there were cries of anguish. I'm too late. No, it's not too late. Feng Yaqing. Yixian's eyes narrowed. He saw that the 100 Poisons princess Feng Yaqing was fighting a vengeful spirit. Not far away, Feng Shan was also fighting a vengeful spirit. There was actually such a low-level vengeful spirit. It seemed that the person who massacred the 100 Poisons sect was not very strong. Ha ha ha, despair. I like to see people in despair. That woman, yes, that woman. I want to see her in despair. The person in the air was laughing loudly. However, what he did not know was that a figure was already flying toward him. Rip! A head flew into the air. This person was instantly killed by Yixian. Yixian did not even know his realm, so he estimated that he was not higher than Imperial Qi Tier 8. After the man was killed, the vengeful spirits below paused for a moment before continuing their attack. Now they were all out of control. Go, vengeful spirits! Yixian took out the 100 Ghost Pearl and released some vengeful spirits. These vengeful spirits were all of high realms. Just a few of them would be enough. What? Feng Shan was a little surprised. He watched as the vengeful spirits killed the vengeful spirits. In a short while, the vengeful spirits attacking the 100 Poisons sect were killed and dissipated. Then another figure descended from the sky. It's you? Feng Shan and Feng Yaqing recognized Yixian. Are you okay? Yixian stood in the air and asked tentatively. Little brother, you saved our lives again. Chapter 457. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Conspiracy. Why are you here? Feng Yaqing looked at the heavenly dragon bone behind Yixian, and the 100 Ghost Pearl in Yixian's hand that absorbed the vengeful spirit. I was just passing by and saw the people from the land of ghosts massacring the sections, so I came to take a look. You guys better find a mountain to hide in, Yixian said casually. Is there a huge commotion? Feng Shan gulped. All the sects in this area are targeted by the land of ghosts. I don't know if it's the same in other areas. Anyway, I saw the Blood Crow Divine Sect destroyed, Yixian said. The Blood Crow Divine Sect. Everyone in the 100 Poisons sect was stunned when they heard the name. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was the overlord of this area. It was a 5th grade sect in the Ghost Tomb region. The 100 Poisons sect was only a 6th grade sect. I have a feeling that something big is going to happen. You guys better find a place to hide. After Yixian said that, he left immediately. In the Ghost Tomb region, the sects were divided into 6 grades. The Poison King sect was the 1st grade sect in the Land of Ghosts. There were a few 2nd grade sects under it. These 2nd grade sects were in charge of 3rd grade sects, 3rd grade sects were in charge of 4th grade sects, and 4th grade sects were in charge of 5th grade sections. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was a 5th grade sect. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was in charge of 6th grade sects like the 100 Poisons sect and the 5 Poisons sect. It was a gradual progression. Yixian suspected that this matter was not as simple as it seemed, so he decided to check out the other areas. In the 100 Poisons sect, many of them looked at the direction Yixian left in puzzlement. A person who came riding on a heavenly dragon bone was holding a 100 ghost pearl. What was going on? If they knew that Yixian was once captured to be tested for poison, what would their expressions be? Feng Yaqing was also looking at Yixian's back and fell into deep thought. She was extremely curious about Yixian's identity. After leaving the 100 Poisons sect, Yixian headed for the hinterland of the 9 Serenities. The Baidu branch that old Monster Hong had taken him to that day was actually at the border of the Ghost Tomb region. In fact, it was also at the border of the 9 Serenities, which was the border of the Land of Buried Bones. However, the Land of Wandering Souls was very far away. For their people to be able to kill their way here, they had to travel a lot of distance. Therefore, this must be premeditated. Yixian headed straight for the center of the 9th Serenity. Along the way, he saw many cities that had been reduced to ruins, as well as many low-level wraiths. Other than that, he also saw many people from the Land of Drifting Souls. Naturally, these people were all killed by him. However, after Yixian stepped into the territory of the Blue Feather sect, a 4th grade sect in the 9 Serenities, he had to treat him with caution. This was because there might be quite a few qi refining experts here. The Blue Feather sect could be considered a relatively orthodox sect in the 9 Serenities. They relied on normal cultivation. However, when Yixian arrived at the Blue Feather sect, he found that the Blue Feather sect had also been massacred. There were no survivors in the entire sect. Corpses were everywhere, all cut to death by sharp blades. These wounds were caused by the claws of the wraiths. How terrifying! Even the Blue Feather sect, which had a 3rd stage qi refining cultivator, was destroyed. Could it be that the Land of Wandering Souls has declared war on the 9 Serenities? Yixian couldn't help but shudder. A war between 2 great forces would be on a very large scale. Moreover, they were all first-class ruthless people in the Ghost Tomb region. If a war broke out, the casualties would definitely be unimaginable. At this moment, a person suddenly rushed over. Whitebone War Puppet, are the people from the Land of Buried Bones also here? Die! A man's voice sounded. Yixian glanced out of the corner of his eye, and found that the person was a 2nd stage qi refinement cultivator. This 2nd stage qi refinement cultivator didn't waste any time, and directly released a 2nd stage qi refinement cultivator's race to attack Yixian. On the way here, Yixian killed many 1st stage qi refinement cultivators and raised his realm a little. Now he had reached 820 dragon power. If he unleashed his full power, he would be able to reach the 1st stage qi refinement realm. Coupled with the enhancement of his various bloodlines, it would be nothing to fight against a 2nd stage qi refinement realm cultivator. However, to be safe, Yixian also let the heavenly dragon bone that had been refined to the 2nd stage qi refinement realm, and the wraiths of the 2nd stage qi refinement realm to help. What? This powerhouse was shocked. He was blind this time to provoke such a powerhouse. The 2nd stage qi refinement realm heavenly dragon bone and the wraiths of the 2nd stage qi refinement realm coupled with Yixian, who was known for his speed, he was instantly defeated and fell in less than 5 rounds. You overestimate yourself. Yixian cursed. Although he didn't know which force this person was from, killing on sight had angered Yixian. Ding! The host has broken through to 840 dragon power. This time, the increase of 20 dragon power made Yixian very satisfied. Although I don't know what happened, I finally found a way to improve quickly. Yixian thought to himself. It seemed that he would soon reach the qi refinement realm. At that time, his true chi would have a qualitative leap and it shouldn't be a problem for him to jump a few levels. This person had a lot of ores in his yin and yang ring, which could help Wei Zhentian increase his realm by a lot. Little Tian, this heavenly dragon bone might not be useful anymore. Refining it takes too much time. You should just devour it. Yixian said to Wei Zhentian. Although Wei Zhentian was very unwilling, he could only accept his fate. Although he could transform, he couldn't transform into such a huge creature. Wei Zhentian's current growth rate was extremely fast, almost catching up to the devouring system. If he ate the ores, he would grow in less than an hour. An hour later, Wei Zhentian reached the Qi refinement realm before Yixian. After that, Yixian also put away the heavenly dragon bone. He didn't even want to use the 100 Ghost Pearl. He was afraid that he would encounter a third or fourth Qi refinement realm expert. He wandered around the Blue Feather sect and found a few experts from the land of ghosts who were still slaughtering the city. Moreover, their realms were between the first and second Qi refinement realm. Because of that, he directly killed those people. His cultivation also continued to increase. Ding! The host has broken through to the first Qi refinement realm. After he killed more than 10 people, he finally broke through to the first dragon realm. He couldn't accept the speed of the breakthrough. Just as he broke through and was waiting for Wei Zhentian to grow, a person suddenly rushed over from afar. This person was actually a third Qi refinement realm expert. Everyone has gathered. Why are you still here? The man asked in surprise. Gathered. Yixian frowned. Now that he had cultivated the Land of Ghosts' secret manual of ghosts, he could sense that the person in front of him was an expert from the Land of Ghosts. Therefore, the man must have thought that he was from the Land of Ghosts. You don't know how to gather? The man also frowned and said in a commanding tone. Release a vengeful spirit. Yixian quickly thought in his heart. Then, he took out 100 Ghost Pearl and released a second Qi refinement realm vengeful spirit. After the man saw it, he lowered his guard and said, That means I didn't inform you. Follow me. Chapter 458. Betrayal? This was the first third-level Qi refinement realm cultivator that Yixian had seen since he entered the 9 Serenities. From the man's tone, it seemed that the Land of Ghosts was gathering experts for a big operation. If Yixian were to unleash his full power, he might be able to fight the man. However, he was more interested in seeing what the Land of Ghosts was up to, so he followed the man. Along the way, they encountered many people from the Land of Ghosts. However, this time he could not attack them. The gathering point of the Land of Ghosts was in a valley. When Yixian arrived with the man, there were already dozens of people gathered there. Wow, so many experts. Which sect are they attacking? Yixian was shocked. He landed with the man. Immediately after, the man turned around and asked, How many resentful spirits have you collected? How many resentful spirits have you collected? Yixian was shocked again, but he controlled his expression and maintained a calm expression to avoid being seen through again. Immediately after, the people who came with Yixian each took out a few 100 Ghost Pearls. The 100 Ghost Pearls could absorb resentful spirits. The limit was 999 resentful spirits, while the 1,000 Ghost Pearls could absorb 9,999 resentful spirits. Yixian glanced at them and realized that one of them had taken out 1,000 Ghost Pearl. How many people did he have to kill? The probability of resentful spirits being born was not high, and those with high cultivation levels were even rarer. Yixian quickly thought for a moment, then took out a few 100 Ghost Pearls. Not bad. The man kept the 100 Ghost Pearls, then walked to the front of the crowd and handed them to an old man. Seems that the old man is the leader. Perhaps he has reached the 4th level Qi refinement realm. Yixian thought to himself. At the same time, he guessed that the Blue Feather sect might have been destroyed by this old man. However, he did not know why he handed over so many resentful spirits. He waited for a while. Although he stood in place, he was eavesdropping on the conversations of the people around him. However, he did not hear anything. He only knew that they were going to attack a faction called the Earth Fiend Sword Sect. The Earth Fiend Sword Sect had a 4th-rank Qi refining expert, which was why they needed to gather so many people. The Ghostland relied on the human wave tactic. Even if there were only 100 of them, if each of them released 100 race, that would be more than 10,000 race, not to mention a 4th-stage Qi refinement cultivator who could control hundreds of race at the same time. During this period of time, More experts from the land of ghosts arrived one after another. When the old man saw that almost everyone had arrived, he shouted, "All right, almost everyone is here. Let's move out." Then, he flew up with a group of people. Yixian glanced at it. Sure enough, this old man was in the 4th rank of qi refining. There were 6 3rd-rank qi refining cultivators, and the rest were either in the 2nd rank or the 1st rank. Yixian mixed in with the group and followed the elder as they flew in a certain direction. After flying for about half a day, they finally arrived at the Earth Emanation Sword Sect. "All right, let's go." The old man didn't waste any more time and directly shouted. At the same time, he took out 1,000 ghost pearl and released 2 4th-stage qi refining vengeful spirits, as well as many 1st to 3rd-stage qi refining vengeful spirits. The others did the same. In an instant, a huge group of vengeful spirits appeared in the sky. There were more than 5,000 vengeful spirits, and some even reached 7,000 to 8,000. This huge group of vengeful spirits covered the sky and pounced towards the Earth Emanation Sword Sect, scaring the disciples of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect half to death. Quickly inform the sect leader that the land of ghosts is attacking." The entire Earth Emanation Sword Sect was in chaos. Fortunately, the Earth Emanation Sword Sect had a protective mountain array. However, this protective mountain array couldn't hold for long. In less than 5 seconds, the protective mountain array was broken, and thousands of vengeful spirits attacked. The sound was so loud that the experts of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect came out. They had already heard the news and were prepared. They immediately split into 2 groups. One group resisted the vengeful spirits while the other rushed towards the dozens of people in the land of ghosts. The land of ghosts was prepared as well. They released more vengeful spirits in an attempt to resist. Yixian, who was mixed in with the crowd, only released a few 1st-rank qi refining vengeful spirits. He was hiding his strength. When he saw the people of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect fighting with the vengeful spirits, his eyes flashed. Now it was time for him to strike. Beast King Rampage. Boom! A surge of energy appeared spontaneously. Yixian's heavenly dragon strength instantly soared to more than 1,300 dragons. The speed of 1,600 dragons burst forth. The land of ghosts relied on the tactic of using numbers. Their own strength was very weak. Yixian's burst of energy instantly killed the people around him, including 2 3rd-rank qi refining experts. His cultivation level increased again. What? The 4th-rank qi refining elder widened his eyes in disbelief. He had personally checked this group of people. They were all people who had cultivated the secret manual of ghosts. But now, why were they killing his own people? However, he didn't have time to think about this because Yixian had already charged over. "Do you think I didn't have a backup plan?" The 1,000 ghost pearl in the elder's left hand emitted a demonic glow. He released another 4th-rank qi refining vengeful spirit. However, it was useless. Yixian was as fast as lightning. He passed by the vengeful spirit and chopped off the elder's head. In an instant, hundreds of vengeful spirits went out of control. Yixian quickly kept the elder's interspatial ring. His cultivation level increased again, and he continued his slaughter. Even a 4th-rank qi refining expert was instantly killed by him, not to mention the rest. In less than 5 seconds, the people of the land of ghosts were all dead. Yixian also used this opportunity to break through to the 3rd-rank qi refining. His cultivation level increased very quickly indeed. After all, these people were ruthless people who had massacred many sects and cities. There were many things in their interspatial rings. Vengeful spirits, come back. Yixian used his vital energy to hold up the 100 ghost pearl and 1,000 ghost pearl. In the next instant, the vengeful spirits attacking the Earth Emanation Sword Sect suddenly turned around and returned to the pearls. This. The people of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect were all stunned. They hadn't even broken through the vengeful spirits and everyone in the land of ghosts was dead. They couldn't understand why Yixian, who was from the land of ghosts, would suddenly kill everyone. "Your Excellency, you are..." The sect leader of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect asked in surprise. Yixian looked at the disciples and elders of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect and said coldly, "I am not from the land of ghosts. I am just here to blend in." This was an explanation that everyone could understand. "So you are an expert sent by the higher-ups. Thank you for your help." I thank you on behalf of the entire Earth Emanation Sword Sect. The sect leader of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect bowed in gratitude. Chapter 459. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Killing an Aura Chi tier expert. It's fine. However, do you know why the Land of Ghosts is attacking us? Yi Xian asked. The Earth Fiend Sword Sect leader paused and shook his head. We don't know either. However, with such a large number of people, they must have been hiding in the Ninth Serenity for a long time. They must be up to something big. Nonsense. Of course I know there's a big conspiracy. Yi Xian rolled his eyes, feeling helpless in his heart. Then he asked again. Do you know which sects haven't been attacked yet? I'm not very sure either. We've been staying in the sect for the past few days, and no one brought us any news. The Earth Fiend Sword Sect leader shook his head. Sigh, forget it. Yi Xian sighed and left. Although he did not get any useful information, he still managed to advance from level 1 to level 3 Qi refinement. If he did it again, he might be able to advance to level 4 Qi refinement. Therefore, he followed the map and went to another sect to take a look. The Land of Ghosts was purging the forces of the Ninth Serenity to collect vengeful spirits. Now Yi Xian had more than 10,000 Qi refinement vengeful spirits in his interspatial ring. If he added the Qi refinement vengeful spirits, the total number would exceed 50,000. This time his target was a sect called the Silver Snake Sect. Like the Earth Fiend Sword Sect, the Silver Snake Sect had level 4 Qi refinement experts. He traveled at full speed for a day and found the Silver Snake Sect. At this time, the Silver Snake Sect was under attack by a group of experts from the Land of Ghosts. What a coincidence! Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Looking at the group of experts from the Land of Ghosts above the Silver Snake Sect, he released several level 3 Qi refinement vengeful spirits. There were 2 level 4 Qi refinement experts in this group. Their vengeful spirits also attacked the Silver Snake Sect. Yi Xian approached quickly. Someone noticed him. Why are you only here now? Hurry up! A level 3 Qi refinement martial artist shouted at Yi Xian. Yi Xian had cultivated the Ghost Secret Manual, and had a few vengeful spirits at the 3rd level of Qi refinement. This caused this martial artist to naturally mistake him for someone from the Ghost Lands. Yes. Yi Xian leaned over with a smile on his face. Then, his smile abruptly disappeared as his eyes shot out 2 rays of murderous intent. Beast King Rampage. In the blink of an eye, the 3rd level of Qi refinement had risen to the 7th level of Qi refinement. His speed had already surpassed the 10th level of Qi refinement, and reached the 1st level of Qi refinement. There were 3 stages in the spirit realm: controlling Qi, refining Qi, and aura Qi. Among them, controlling Qi only had 9 stages, while refining Qi and aura Qi had 10 stages. In any case, Yi Xian's current speed had already exceeded everyone's reaction time. Swish! 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 Yi Xian rushed into the crowd and started a massacre. In less than 3 seconds the dozens of people were all dead, and because of this he broke through to the 4th rank of Qi refinement. Then he recalled everyone's race and left quickly. The people from the Silver Snake Sect did not understand what was going on. They stood there in a daze for a full 10 seconds. Was there a traitor in the Land of Wandering Souls? After that, Yi Xian kept wandering around these sections. If he saw anyone from the Land of Wandering Souls, he would immediately kill them. His cultivation level also increased rapidly, as if he was sitting on a rocket. He went deeper into the Land of 9 Serenities, and the people he encountered had higher cultivation levels. There was indeed a huge conspiracy in the Land of Wandering Souls. These experts could not have arrived recently. They had been hiding in the Land of 9 Serenities for a long time. Out of curiosity, Yi Xian also captured a few experts from the Land of Wandering Souls. However, these people were only following orders. They were in charge of collecting the wraiths and handing them over to their superiors. Moreover, the Land of Wandering Souls plan was very meticulous. They first investigated the backgrounds of these forces, then sent experts to destroy them. At this time, Yi Xian had already destroyed nearly 10 waves of experts from the Land of Wandering Souls. His cultivation level had already reached the 8th rank of Qi refinement. Now he encountered a group led by an aura Qi expert. At the same time he also infiltrated them. This time the sect they were going to destroy was a level 3 force. They also had an aura chi expert. Everyone listen to my order. Kill. The level 1 aura chi expert shouted. Hundreds of experts from the land of wandering souls instantly released countless wraiths. There were already more than 20,000 of them. A large group of wraiths covered the sky and rushed toward the sect. Yi Xian hid among them like before. Just as the wraiths rushed over, he suddenly activated Beast King's rampage. More than 1,700 dragons. His strength increased to 2,300 dragons, and he reached the 4th rank of Aura Chi. The leader of the group was only at the 1st rank of Aura Chi. However, this was only an increase in strength. From the 9th rank of Chi refinement to the 1st rank of Chi refinement, there would be a qualitative leap in one's true energy. From the 10th rank of Chi refinement to the 1st rank of Aura Chi, a new technique would appear. It was called the Aura Defense. This Aura Defense could greatly weaken true energy attacks. Yi Xian might not be able to kill this 1st rank of Aura Chi expert with the strength of his 8th rank Chi refinement and Bahuang's sword. However, he could find trouble with others first. Rip! 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 Crisp sounds rang out as heads and corpses fell from the sky. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the 100 experts from the land of ghosts were dead. At least 30 of them had fallen. Yi Xian's strength was still rising rapidly. What? The 1st rank of Aura Chi expert was shocked. What a bastard! You actually dared to infiltrate our land of wandering souls team. The 1st rank of Aura Chi expert was furious. He charged at Yi Xian with his sword. However, at this moment, Yi Xian had just broken through to the 9th rank of Aura Chi refinement with 1,800 dragons of power. After breaking through, Yi Xian ignored him and continued to slaughter the people around him. By the time this expert caught up to him, most of the people in the land of ghosts were already dead. Whoosh! The expert with the 1st level of astral energy flashed in front of Yi Xian. His sword descended, but it landed on the afterimage. Yi Xian had already circled behind him and swung his sword. Bang! Yi Xian's true chi was weakened by the 1st rank of Aura Chi. When the Bahuang sword landed on the 1st rank of Aura Chi defense, his wrist trembled. Clang! The martial artist hurriedly blocked with his long sword and growled. You think you can kill me? He could tell that Yi Xian only had strength. His true chi was very weak. If he was really a 3rd rank of Aura Chi expert, he would have been killed instantly. Haha, I think I can kill you. Yi Xian sneered and swung his sword again. This time he used martial arts. Underworld swordsmanship, sword descends to the underworld. Rip! A head flew up. Yi Xian only wanted to see the effect of the 1st rank of Aura Chi. He did not use martial arts. The 1st rank of Aura Chi defense is really good. It weakened my true chi greatly. If Beast King's rampage could increase my realm instead of my strength, that would be great. Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. If Beast King's rampage could increase his realm, he would be able to fight against a 4th or 5th rank of Aura Chi expert. Chapter 460. Meet the Devourer again. The host has broken through to the 9th level of Chi refining. 9th level of Chi refining, 1800 dragon power. The disciple of the 3rd grade power was also stunned as he watched these powerful wraiths being taken away by Yi Xian. Yi Xian was about to ask a few more questions when a large group of black figures suddenly appeared in the distance. No, it was a large group of white figures. When he turned around, he discovered that it was not the experts from the land of wandering souls, but the experts from the land of buried bones. Those white figures were all white bone war puppets. The people from the boneyard are finally here. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. With such a huge matter happening in the Nine Netherland, the boneyard would definitely not be able to sit still and come to get a share of the loot. He estimated that those who were able to come here wouldn't be very strong. He immediately rushed out. The strongest person in this group from the boneyard was only at Tier 2 astral energy. They could not stop Yi Xian at all. In just a short while, this group from the boneyard was completely annihilated. It was because of this that Yi Xian broke through to the 10th rank of Qi refining. He was only one step away from attaining the Aura Qi rank. Now, the Nine Netherland could be considered to be riddled with holes. None of the sects on the periphery could survive the crisis unscathed. Even the Poison King sect and the 6 second-class sects were the same. Although Yi Xian still didn't understand why the Corpse Master sect and the Fallen Spirits sect wanted to attack the Nine Serenities, he knew that as long as he ventured deeper, he would understand. Therefore, he continued to advance toward the center of the 9 serenities. However, just as he entered the territory of a second-class sect, he witnessed an unprecedented battle. At this moment there were 2 groups of people fighting in front of him. The commotion was extremely great, and it resounded through the clouds. When Yixian saw the realms of these people, he was completely dumbfounded. The strongest among the 20 or so people had actually reached the 3,000 dragons, which was the 3 heavenly dragons. Level 10 gang energy. Heavens, what am I seeing? Peak of the Aura Chi realm. He's only 1 step away from the Soul Essence realm. Yixian was extremely shocked. Rank 10 gang Chi was already the pinnacle of the ghost tomb. He took a quick look around and could tell that this was a battle between the Poison King sect and the Fallen Spirit sect. The Poison King sect naturally used poison, while the Fallen Spirit sect controlled vengeful spirits in battle. Although Yixian's cultivation base wasn't high, he could tell that the Poison King sect wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. Little Tong, let's go. A loud roar reverberated between heaven and earth. Then Yixian saw a petite figure rushing towards him. Seeing this, the leader of the Poison King sect reminded, "Not this way." Hearing this, Yixian's eyes narrowed. He discovered that this petite figure was actually a 6 or 7-year-old girl. The reason the middle-aged man reminded him was because he saw Yixian. However, the little girl continued to charge towards Yixian. "Big brother, please help me," the little girl cried out to Yixian. Yixian's body trembled again. F***CK, this little girl is actually a rank 1 gang Chi expert. She's a rank higher than me. He could only watch as the little girl rushed over. Then the little girl took off the interspatial ring around her neck and cried, "Big brother, this is for you. Please help us." Yixian looked at the little girl who didn't even reach his waist and shook his head helplessly. "Little girl, aren't you afraid that I'm a bad guy?" The little girl blinked her big eyes and said with 2 streaks of tears, "I believe you." Yixian was stunned by this sentence. In fact, he had wanted to run for his life. He was afraid that he would be implicated. How could he possibly help? "Brat, if you dare touch her, I'll take your life," the middle-aged man from the Poison King sect shouted angrily. Clearly, this little girl's identity was not ordinary. Yixian glanced at the battle in the distance and silently took the interspatial ring. But in the next moment he couldn't help but gasp. There were too many things in this interspatial ring to count. Not only that, there was something in the interspatial ring that made him almost want to devour everything. "You want to use this interspatial ring as a reward for my help?" Yixian asked. "Yes." The little girl nodded. "Okay, I agree." Yixian nodded solemnly. Now he didn't care about anything else. He directly devoured everything in this exquisite interspatial ring. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 1 gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 2 gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 3 gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 4 gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 5 gang Chi. The little girl didn't have many natural treasures, and there weren't many sacred beast souls, but it was still enough for Yixian to rise by 6 ranks. But that was not the point. The point was that there was a devourer's corpse in the interspatial ring. The devourer's corpse was a black rabbit. Ding! Host has obtained 1 advancement point. Finally, he obtained the 3rd advancement point. Then, he chose agility advancement point without hesitation. Ding! Beast King Bloodline Agility Advancement successful. Current advancement point 3. After advancing agility advancement point 3 times, Yixian's speed increased again. Now, he was more than 2,400 dragons. Even if he didn't use Beast King's Rage, he was still beyond the spirit realm. But he didn't dare to be careless. This group of people were the elites of the elites. They definitely had high-grade heaven-level martial arts. The little girl's interspatial ring also had high-grade heaven-level martial arts, which made things easier for Yixian. Ding! Host has learned the hidden dragon swordsmanship. Current proficiency 10%. Ding! Host has learned the black dragon swordsmanship. Current proficiency 10%. These 2 martial arts were both high-grade heaven-level martial arts. But because he had just learned them, he only had 10% proficiency. "Big brother, hurry up and help Uncle Hua." At this moment, the little girl's words pulled Yixian back to reality. "Can you stay here?" Yixian regained his senses and immediately rushed out. Now, he was using the black dragon steps that he had just learned. However, there was not a single flying dragon around him. This was because his spirit realm had exceeded the spirit realm. He had more than 3,100 dragons. In the spirit realm, even if one was at the 10th level of astral energy, they would at most be able to cultivate to the strength of 3 heavens dragons. However, Yixian had 100 more dragons than them. At this time, his speed had reached the extreme. There was no one in the ghost tomb who could compare with him. If it was calculated in terms of dragons, it would be 4,100 dragons. Ding! Black Dragon Steps proficiency has increased. Current proficiency: 20%. Chapter 461. Translator. Exodus Tales Editor. Exodus Tales. Ghost Tamba Yixian charged into the fray. His high-grade heaven-class movement technique was enhanced by 20%. His speed had already surpassed the ghostly steps of the netherworld. His speed sent chills down the spines of the onlookers. Their faces were filled with shock as they realized that there was not a single flying dragon around Yixian. This meant that his strength had exceeded 3,000 dragons. Both parties were frightened to death. The middle-aged man from the Poison King sect glanced over and realized that the young lady was staring at him from afar. The middle-aged man immediately understood that Yixian was here to help them. At that moment, his morale soared. "Kill!" the middle-aged man bellowed. The Poison King sect members were not fools. They could tell what was going on. As for the Fallen Spirits sect members, their faces darkened. They had already released all of their vengeful spirits and could barely suppress the Poison King sect members. When they had attacked the Poison King sect members with all their might, they could not even release a single vengeful spirit. They could only watch as the young lady ran away. At that moment, Yixian had already traversed a few thousand meters and charged into the midst of the Fallen Spirits sect members. Essence Soul Stage, here I come. Yixian's eyes lit up as he began his massacre. Everyone in the land of wandering spirits was the same. They specialized in controlling vengeful spirits and were weak in terms of strength. As such, the moment Yixian charged into the midst of the Fallen Spirits sect members, he began his massacre. In the blink of an eye, 3 of them had fallen. Ding! Host has broken through to level 6 of Earth Energy. Ding! Host has broken through to level 7 of Earth Energy. When Yixian broke through the Earth Energy defense of the Fallen Spirits sect member who had the strength of 3 dragons and chopped off his head, everyone from the Poison King sect was stunned. This group of Fallen Spirits sect members who had almost killed them had died at the hands of the same person in less than 3 seconds. This was hard for them to accept. Ding! Host has broken through to level 8 of Earth Energy. After Yixian devoured the last universe ring, he broke through to level 8 of Earth Energy. Following which, the vengeful spirits were summoned back by him. The Poison King sect's people all stopped and looked at each other in dismay. At this moment, even if Yixian didn't go into Beast King Rampage, he would still be able to kill all of the Poison King sect's members. But he didn't want to. Big brother. At this moment the little girl ran over. "I have completed the task you entrusted to me." Yixian smiled at the little girl. "Big brother, thank you." The little girl was so emotional that she started crying. The Poison King sect's group had a total of 10 people, led by the middle-aged man. After a while, the middle-aged man landed on the ground and knelt on one knee. He cupped his fist and said, "Thank you for saving my life." In response, Yixian also hurriedly descended and said, "Senior, please rise. I was only entrusted by her." The middle-aged man stood up, took the little girl's hand, and wiped the tears off her face. "You're from the Poison King sect, right? What happened in the 9 Serenities?" Yixian couldn't help but ask. The Poison King sect was the overlord sect of the 9 Serenities in the Ghost Tomb region. They definitely knew what happened here. The middle-aged man was stunned and asked, "You don't know?" "I just came from another territory and happened to pass by." Yixian casually replied, "That's true." The middle-aged man thought about it and agreed. There were only 3 Soul Essence Realm experts in the Ghost Tomb region. Yixian was so young, how could he be from the Ghost Tomb region? He hesitated for a moment and said, Actually, my Poison King sect has been destroyed by the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect. There are only 11 of us left in the Poison King sect. What? Destroyed? Yixian exclaimed. The Poison King sect was one of the 3 overlord sects in the Ghost Tomb region. How could it be destroyed just like that? Yes, it has been destroyed. Even the Soul Essence Realm Old Sect Master has fallen. As the middle-aged man spoke, he glanced at the little girl beside him and said, Little Tong is the Old Sect Master's granddaughter. We just escaped from the Poison King sect and are preparing to leave the Ghost Tomb region to find her aunt in the Eastern Mountain region. So all the Soul Essence Realm experts have fallen. Yixian's heart froze. The old sect master of the Poison King sect should have been killed by the 2 great experts of the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect. At this moment Little Tong cried again. Big brother, my father, mother, and grandparents were all killed by them. Can you help me take revenge? Yixian scratched his head. He was most afraid of people crying. But now, he didn't even know why the Poison King sect was destroyed. Thus, he turned his head and asked, Then why was the Poison King sect destroyed? Little brother, there is a legend in the Ghost Tomb region. It is rumored that there is a ghost tomb in the Ghost Tomb region that was built by a spirit realm expert after his death. There were originally 2 entrances to the Ghost Tomb. One was originally the burial ground, but that entrance was destroyed. As for the other entrance, although the middle-aged man did not finish his sentence, Yixian understood. The second entrance was in the Poison King sect. The second entrance is indeed in the Poison King sect. Originally, no one knew about this, not even me. However, half a year ago, a strange phenomenon appeared in our Poison King sect. The howling of 10,000 ghosts lasted for an entire 3 days. It was seen by the people from the burial ground in the land of ghosts, so they used it to kill their way over. The middle-aged man explained. Now Yixian was confused. Since they were exposed, why didn't they give up the Poison King sect's foundation and move? Could it be that the Poison King sect wants to monopolize the Ghost Tomb? Yixian asked with a frown. No, little brother, you misunderstood. Although the Ghost Tomb is under the Poison King sect, there is a seal. The Poison King sect was destroyed in order to protect the Ghost Tomb and prevent the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect from entering. The middle-aged man shook his head. What do you mean? Yixian asked in astonishment. Since the Poison King sect knew about the tomb of a spirit realm senior, why didn't they send people to explore it? Was it because it was too dangerous? The seal of the Ghost Tomb requires 9,999,999 vengeful spirits to break through. Moreover, there is a powerful Ghost King in the Ghost Tomb. If it is accidentally released, the entire Ghost Tomb will be destroyed. The old sect master was afraid that the Ghost King would appear, so he guarded the entrance to the Ghost Tomb. The middle-aged man said. So that's how it is. Now Yixian's doubts were finally solved. Simply speaking, the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect discovered that the entrance to the Ghost Tomb was in the Poison King sect. Thus they killed their way in. However, the Poison King sect swore to protect the entrance, which led to their destruction. Due to the seal on the entrance, it required 10 million vengeful spirits to break through. Thus, the Fallen Spirit sect began to kill and capture vengeful spirits. Then, did the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect enter the Ghost Tomb? Yixian asked again. Chapter 462. Entering the Ghost Tomb, when they attacked my Poison King sect, they gathered nearly 10 million wraiths. I'm afraid that they have already entered the Ghost Tomb. The middle-aged man replied. After he finished speaking, his eyes flashed and he continued. Little brother, your strength is enough to enter the Ghost Tomb. If you are interested, you can compete with the Fallen Ghost sect and Corpse Master sect. Yixian immediately saw through his intentions. The middle-aged man saw that he was strong, so he wanted to let him enter the Ghost Tomb. Firstly, it was a favor, and secondly, it was possible that he could help the Poison King sect take revenge. This Ghost Tomb was built by a spirit stage expert. It must be very dangerous inside, right? Yixian's gaze fell on the middle-aged man. I'm not too sure about this. The legend of the founder being a spirit stage expert has yet to be confirmed. However, it is said that this Ghost King can fight with experts who have opened 3 earth veins in the spirit stage. The middle-aged man shook his head. Now, Yixian also understood the specific levels in the spirit stage. The spirit stage was divided into the royal qi, refinement qi, and aura qi realms. The spirit stage was to open the meridians. There were a total of 108 meridians. First it was the 72 earth veins, then the 36 heaven veins. Opening 3 earth veins was just the beginning of the spirit stage. At the spirit stage the physique was not very useful. After all, the experts of the spirit stage could communicate with the world's origin qi and borrow it to increase the power of their martial arts. Yi Xian was still a bit worried because the last time he entered the red refining cave, he encountered a resurrected boss. How long has this ghost tomb been? He asked again. At least 1,000 years. My Poison King sect has a history of 800 years. The middle-aged man replied. Yi Xian was a bit hesitant. He had not reached the spirit stage yet, but he was almost there. This was a rare opportunity. With his current strength, he should be considered the strongest person in the ghost tomb territory. To be on the safe side, he asked a few more questions about the ghost tomb. At the same time, he felt that the middle-aged man was not lying. After that, Yi Xian left and rushed towards the Poison King sect. The ghost tomb had been opened a few times. Many people had explored it and there were many opportunities. Therefore Yi Xian could not fall behind. Otherwise everything would be snatched away. By the time Yi Xian arrived at the Poison King sect, he discovered that the sect's protective array was in shambles. The Poison King sect had also been reduced to ruins, but there was not a single corpse. Presumably they had all been taken away. However, at this moment a group of people suddenly rushed over from not far away. That's strange. Both the Fallen Spirit sect and the Corpse Master sect should have already entered. Yi Xian hid in surprise. He focused his eyes and realized that the leader did not have wyvern strength. It was obvious that he was a soul essence realm expert. He realized that these people should be from the forces in the territories around Ghost Tomb. It seemed that he had quite a few opponents. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly descended from the clouds and was exposed to the group of people. Huh, there are still survivors? A martial artist with stage 9 supreme force said in surprise. Then he turned his head to look at the leading soul essence stage expert. The soul essence stage expert shook his head and said, "He should be here to fish in troubled waters. Let him go in and die." After all, they were a large force. It was too degrading for so many people to bully a stage 8 supreme force. These 20 people flew above the Poison King sect and searched for a while. After a while they found the entrance. The entrance to the ghost tomb was under the Poison King sect's Poison King Pagoda. Yi Xian followed behind this group of people and saw all of them enter the Poison King Pagoda. Not long after, he saw another team flying over. This time there were actually 2 Soul Essence stage experts. Soul Essence stage. I can't see the realm. I wonder if I can fight with a Soul Essence stage expert now. Yi Xian thought in his heart. From the Spirit stage to the Soul Essence stage was a huge breakthrough. His strength would also undergo a qualitative leap. At this moment, although he could increase his strength to more than 3,000 dragon power, the Soul Essence stage allowed him to mobilize the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi. Whether it was attack or speed, it was much stronger than a stage 10 supreme force. Therefore, he was still relatively careful. After this team entered the Poison King Pagoda, Yi Xian couldn't sit still and dive down. At this moment he was at stage 8 supreme force. Next was stage 9, stage 10, and then Soul Essence stage. According to the middle-aged man, there was a great treasure in the Ghost Tomb. It was the Ghost King Pearl that was used to seal the Ghost King. If someone could obtain it and refine it, then they would have an additional Soul Essence stage combat power. Yi Xian went down a secret passage in the Poison King Pagoda. After a while he saw a gloomy door. The door was inlaid with human skulls. They're real skulls. I'm afraid they were all high-stage supreme force when they were alive. Yi Xian was a little surprised. The gloomy door had been pushed open, but Yi Xian couldn't see what was inside. There was no doubt that there was a formation here. This was the third seal used to restrict the Ghost King. This seal was only effective against dead creatures. It was useless against living creatures. Yi Xian directly passed through. Immediately he saw a gloomy graveyard. Damn, these graves have all been dug up? Yi Xian was shocked. He walked in front of a tombstone and took a look. Nailin Yuan, an expert with 16 earth veins in the Soul Essence stage. In the Soul Essence stage, One must first open 72 earth veins, then 36 heaven veins. The owner of this graveyard only had 16 earth veins when he was alive. It wasn't very strong. Yixian walked around a few more times and found that their strength was about the same. The highest was only 20 earth veins. These graves were built by the owner of this ghost tomb. He buried the corpses of the experts he killed when he was alive. What spirit stage? At most, it's the soul essence stage who has opened 30 earth veins. Yixian felt helpless. However, this graveyard was quite large. He couldn't see the end of it. In addition, the environment was a little dark, causing the atmosphere here to be very strange. Yixian didn't have a map of this ghost tomb, so he could only walk forward. However, he had only taken a few steps when a crisp sound entered his ears. He turned his head and found that a white bone arm suddenly stretched out in front of a grave 1,000 meters away. Yixian was shocked. He watched as a skeleton climbed out of the grave. No one is controlling it. It actually climbed out by itself? Yixian was a little confused. He glanced over and found that the owner of this grave was an expert who had opened 5 earth veins. Of course, this referred to when he was alive. I'm not afraid when you're alive. Why would I be afraid when you're dead? Yixian tightened his grip on the Bahuang sword in his hand and rushed over. In an instant, he tore apart the skeleton. If the skeleton of a soul essence stage expert could be refined into a white bone battle puppet, its strength would be quite good. Chapter 463. Ghost Tomb's 4th floor. Following that, Yixian continued to walk forward. As expected, he encountered skeletons again. However, they were not strong and were easily killed by him. 10 minutes after he entered the ghost tomb, he suddenly discovered a passage that led downwards. It was obvious that there was a 2nd floor to the ghost tomb. Yixian continued to walk downwards and arrived at the 2nd floor of the ghost tomb. This floor was still a graveyard. However, Yixian was shocked. This was because the tombstones on the 2nd floor were all experts who had opened more than 30 earth veins. The highest one was an expert who had opened 72 earth veins. Could it be that the owner of this ghost tomb was really a spirit stage expert? Yixian was somewhat suspicious. He walked around the 2nd floor and discovered that the tombstones were all empty. Furthermore, there were some traces of battle. The skeletons should have been taken away by the Corpse Master sect. Immediately, Yixian entered the 3rd floor of the ghost tomb. As expected, the spirit stage experts who had opened their heaven veins were all buried here. Although they were spirit stage experts when they were alive, the skeletons were not that strong after they died. They could even deal with a martial artist of the aura stage. Yixian walked around the 3rd floor of the ghost tomb and discovered the tombstones of experts who had opened 36 heaven veins. If what was written on the tombstones was true, then the owner of the ghost tomb was indeed a spirit stage expert. At this moment, Yixian had already arrived at the entrance to the 4th floor. Before he entered, he heard a rumbling sound. There were people fighting below. He walked in without hesitation and gripped the Bahuang sword tightly in his hand. This time it was not only the Corpse Master sect and the Fallen Spirit sect. These 2 sects were considered the strongest in the ghost tomb. However, people from other territories had also come. The last force that Yixian saw had 2 spirit stage experts. Therefore, the Corpse Master sect and the Fallen Spirit sect were nothing. He had to be careful. He entered the passage and carefully walked to the exit. Sure enough, there was a group of people fighting in front of him. However, their opponents were not humans but a large group of skeletons. No, it was a sea of skeletons. Not only that, but there were also some corpses mixed in with the skeletons. Yixian looked from afar. Undead creatures were everywhere thousands of meters away. The danger level of the 4th level was truly terrifying. Charge, we have to charge through. 2,000 meters away, the team was madly attacking the surrounding undead creatures and slowly advancing, continuously roaring. Yixian stood at the exit and looked up. He saw that there were still many bone spikes flying in the air. If anyone dared to fly up, they would probably be turned into a sieve in an instant. There are even bone spikes flying in the air. The danger level is even higher. It seems that we can only break through this sea of undead creatures. Yixian pondered for a moment before Yixian jumped into the sea of skeletons. Now that he was at the 8th level of astral energy, the strength of his true chi was not weak. Therefore, he directly shattered the Bahuang sword and used the heaven break that he had not used for a long time. Gotcha! 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 In an instant, the skeletons that were blocking Yixian's path were directly swept away. Yixian was like a bulldozer as he quickly moved forward. His speed was much faster than the team that had 2 Soul Essence Realm experts in front of him. Not long after, Yixian caught up with this team. Due to the large number of skeletons, they did not notice Yixian. In the blink of an eye, Yixian passed by them. F***ck, how many experts did they have to kill to form such an army of undead? Yixian thought as he moved forward. Although these skeletons were not strong, there were too many of them. Yixian destroyed at least 1,000 skeletons along the way. However, these 1,000 skeletons and corpses were like a drop of water in the sea to the entire undead army. Yixian was very calm. After all, this was just a large number of skeletons. Moreover, his true chi was almost inexhaustible. Even if he used Heaven Break while using the Hidden Dragon Sword art, his true chi would recover faster than it was consumed. He rushed forward for about 100,000 meters before he saw a stone wall. What? The passage isn't here? Yixian looked around in surprise. Previously, when he went all the way to the 4th floor, the passage was right in front of the entrance. However, this time it was not. It seemed that the passage to the 5th floor should be somewhere. He immediately began to search around again. It had to be said that the 4th floor of the ghost tomb was really huge. He ran around the stone wall for 10 minutes, but he still could not see the corner. At this moment, roar! Suddenly, a deafening sound entered Yixian's ears. His body trembled as he turned his head to look. He saw a huge figure mixed in with the undead army in the distance. What a big guy! Yixian's eyes immediately lit up. These skeletons and corpses that were blocking him were all humans when they were alive. As for that big guy, it should be a holy beast. Moreover, it was very likely that it was a holy beast that was comparable to the Soul Essence Realm. For Yixian, this was a huge amount of experience. Yixian immediately moved in the direction of the big guy. When he got closer, he saw that this big guy was an ape corpse that was dozens of meters tall. It stood there quietly with its back facing Yixian. At this moment, roar! The ape corpse suddenly turned around and saw Yixian. It immediately opened its mouth and roared. Then it raised its big foot and crushed the skeletons below it. It's a Soul Essence Realm giant mountain-splitting ape. Yixian recognized it. The giant mountain-splitting ape was extremely strong. It could split mountains and split the earth with a single punch. It's targeting me. Yixian's face darkened. The giant mountain-splitting ape was a few thousand meters away from Yixian. It stomped its foot down and forcefully stomped on the ground, leaping towards Yixian. 8 Desolate Wind killing array charge. Yixian immediately used Skybreak to open a path and dodged the attack. Bang! The giant mountain-splitting ape landed on the ground, and the entire ghost tomb shook. Yixian condensed the 8 Desolate Sword and used Dragon's Judgment on the giant mountain-splitting ape's foot. This slash pierced through the air and landed on the giant mountain-splitting ape's calf. However, to Yixian's surprise, this attack did not break through the giant mountain-splitting ape's defense. It's so strong. If I get this corpse, I can at least break through to rank 9-star energy. Yixian's eyes lit up as he charged over. Although the giant mountain-splitting ape was strong and had a strong defense, Yixian's speed was twice as fast as it. Hidden Dragon Sword Art. Hidden Dragon Stab. Yixian charged all the way to the giant mountain-splitting ape's foot and then stabbed with his sword. This time he finally broke through the ape's defense. Although it was only half an inch, it was still very good. It's a pity that I haven't reached the Soul Essence Realm. Yixian was slightly helpless. The Soul Essence Realm could use the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi. Whether it was sword techniques or movement techniques, they had far surpassed the Spirit Realm. If Yixian was at the Soul Essence Realm, he could instantly kill this giant mountain-splitting ape even if he only opened one earth vein. However, Yixian's Hidden Dragon Sword Art was only at 30%. There was still a lot of room for improvement. Chapter 464. Fallen Spirits Sect. Ding! Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level has increased. Current proficiency level is 40%. Ding! Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level has increased. Current proficiency level is 50%. Ding! Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level has increased. Current proficiency level is 60%. Yi Xian fought with the giant mountain-splitting ape for a full 5 minutes before he finally raised the hidden dragon sword arts proficiency level to 60%. He was still in the spirit realm, so he was unable to raise the heaven tier martial arts proficiency level to 70%. The highest he could reach was 60%. Right now, Yi Xian was already able to cause quite a bit of damage to the giant mountain-splitting ape. Since the giant mountain-splitting ape was a corpse, its blood had already been drained dry. Yi Xian chopped at its right leg, and in a short while the giant mountain-splitting ape's leg was chopped off. Then its huge body fell to the ground, smashing into a pile of skeletons and corpses. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian jumped onto the giant mountain-splitting ape's body. Then he ran to its neck and attacked crazily. After a short while, the giant mountain-splitting ape's head was chopped off by Yi Xian. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 9. Although the giant mountain-splitting ape's corpse did not contain the soul of a sacred beast, it allowed Yi Xian to break through to rank 9. Now, Yi Xian was only 2 steps away from the spirit realm. If it was someone from the Fallen Spirit sect or the Corpse Master sect, it would be troublesome. However, it is not a threat to me at all. Yi Xian shook his head and started to kill the surrounding skeletons again. Since there was a spirit realm sacred beast's corpse here, there should be a second one. Yi Xian searched for the entrance to the 5th floor, while looking for more giant mountain-splitting apes. He searched along the walls and found a second giant mountain-splitting ape. However, this giant mountain-splitting ape was currently fighting with a group of people. Vengeful spirits? Yi Xian looked from afar and saw many translucent vengeful spirits flying in the air. These vengeful spirits ignored the bone spikes in the air and attacked the skeletons around them. Vengeful spirits were special creatures. Weapons could not hurt them. Hence, these skeletons were not a threat to them. However, when a vengeful spirit attacked, its fingernails would condense into a physical form, so it was very difficult to deal with. This was the first time Yi Xian had seen a vengeful spirit since he entered the ghost tomb. Thus, he reckoned that this group should be from the Fallen Ghost sect. Although the Poison King sect has nothing to do with me, the fact that I was able to devour another devouring beast and increase my strength by leaps and bounds has a lot to do with Little Tong. Since we've met, I'll help you take revenge. Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he held the Bahuang sword and directly charged over. This time, Fallen Spirit sect had sent over 20 people. All of them were at least level 9, and there were even 5 who were at level 10. As for the elder leading the group, he was naturally the sect leader of the Fallen Spirit sect, Dali of the Essence Soul Realm. At this point, he was holding back the giant mountain-cleaving ape alone. The rest of the Fallen Spirit sect disciples had formed a circle to fend off the skeleton army. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit sect was defending against the flying bone spikes and attacking the giant mountain-splitting ape. All of a sudden, he felt something. He turned around and saw Yi Xian charging towards him. However, he did not pay much attention to him. After all, Yi Xian was only a 9th order Earth Force cultivator. However, what happened next was beyond his expectations. After Yi Xian charged over, the elders under him began to die one by one. The vengeful spirits he controlled also lost control and launched a counterattack. How is this possible? The sect leader of Fallen Spirit sect opened his eyes wide in disbelief. The people he brought were all elites, but they were all slaughtered by a rank 9 astral energy warrior. He even suspected that he was dreaming. You broke through? The sect leader of Fallen Spirit sect trembled once more as he saw the number of dragons in Yi Xian's flying dragon count increasing rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the number of dragons had increased to 2,900. Level 10 gang energy. Fallen Spirit sect's sect leader's face fell as he turned around and charged towards Yi Xian. Golden Platform Demon Vanquishing Palm. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit sect made use of his own vital energy to control the surrounding Yuan Qi. He gathered the Yuan Qi in his palm and blasted it out. Yi Xian, who was in the midst of killing the elders of Fallen Spirit sect, turned around and saw a gigantic golden palm coming towards him. What the F***CK? Is this the Buddha's palm? Yi Xian felt a strong sense of pressure as he hurriedly activated his Beast King's rampage. With the speed of nearly 5,000 dragons, he managed to evade the gigantic palm attack. You wasted one of my Beast King's rampage. See if I don't kill you. Yi Xian was enraged as he swiftly dealt with the remaining elders of Fallen Spirits sect before charging towards Yi Xian. What incredible speed! I can't fight him head-on. To be able to become the leader of an intermediate-level territory, the sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect was not to be trifled with. When he saw Yi Xian's strength, he immediately turned around and fled. Although the bone spikes in the air were fast and there were many of them, they could not do anything to a spirit refinement stage cultivator who had already unblocked 2 earth veins. Trying to escape, Yi Xian did not fly up into the air. Instead, he was like a sharp blade as he broke through the waves of bone spikes and chased after the sect leader. Hidden Dragon Swordplay, Hidden Dragon Pierce. A ray of cold light flashed past and penetrated the sect leader's shoulder in the blink of an eye. What? The sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect was shocked. This time, if not for the fact that Yi Xian had miscalculated, his head would have been pierced through. Xiu! Another ray of cold light shot towards him. The sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect was forced to throw out a punch. However, he did not expect that his punch would be destroyed by this ray of cold light. Pooh! The ray of cold light penetrated his palm and pierced through his entire arm before exiting from his back. This arm of his would be crippled in a short period of time. If it was only his arm that was pierced through, it would still be all right. However, his bones had been pierced through as well. His arm was now limp as it rested weakly on his thigh. You deserve to die. The sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect was enraged as he charged towards Yi Xian. Just in time, Yi Xian shouted out. If he could kill this sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect, he might be able to break through to the Spirit Essence stage. Fight! In an instant, the two of them started exchanging blows, completely ignoring the skeleton army around them. The Spirit Essence stage already possessed the power to destroy the heavens and earth. The skeleton army around them was instantly cleared out and retreated by more than 10 meters. This was the first time Yi Xian was fighting against a Spirit Essence stage expert. Luckily, he was prepared and activated the Beast King's Rampage. If not, based on his speed, he might not be able to catch up with the sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect. However, after activating the Beast King's Rampage, the sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect was no longer able to do anything to him. A high-grade heaven-tier martial art. At most, you should be at 50% completion. Since that's the case, you can go and die. Yi Xian was filled with killing intent. At this point, he had already broken through to 60% completion in his Azure Dragon steps. His speed increased tremendously once again. This person is so strong. Where did he come from? Not only did he kill all the elders of Fallen Spirits sect, even I won't be able to escape death. The sect leader of Fallen Spirits sect was in despair. All of his attacks had been dodged by Yi Xian. This meant that he would not be able to kill Yi Xian. Chapter 465. Translator. Exodus Tales Editor. Exodus Tales Vengeful Spirit. However, before the Fallen Spirits sect leader could finish his thoughts, a long sword pierced through his head and came out from his forehead. The Fallen Spirits sect leader was dead. At that moment, Yi Xian kept the Fallen Spirits sect leader's Qian Kuan ring and devoured it. Unexpectedly, the Fallen Spirits sect leader's Qian Kuan ring did not contain many items. He only managed to break through to the Spirit Essence realm with 2,997 dragons. He was just a little bit away from breaking through to the Spirit Essence realm. However, Yi Xian did not mind at all. At that moment, a huge figure was charging towards him. The giant mountain splitter ape. Pung! The giant mountain splitter ape stepped on Yi Xian's previous position. Just as it landed on the ground, Yi Xian was already behind it. Golden platform demon exterminating palm. Yi Xian struck out with his left palm. The golden palm landed on the giant mountain splitter ape's back, causing it to fall to the ground before it could even stand up. Many skeletons were crushed to death. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian dashed forward and attacked crazily. Under the Beast King's rage, Yi Xian's attacks were extremely powerful. In less than 3 seconds, the giant mountain splitter ape's head was chopped off. Ding! Host has broken through to 3,000 dragons of power. Ding! Host has broken through to the Spirit Essence realm. Ding! Host has opened up 1 earth vein. After hearing the 3 consecutive notifications, Yi Xian could not help but howl towards the sky. Spirit Essence realm. He had finally broken through to the spirit essence realm. At the moment of breaking through, the aura in his golden dantian had also turned into a spirit essence. Now, he could use the yuanqi of heaven and earth to attack. Let me try the power of the spirit essence realm. Yi Xian leaped into the air and struck down with his palm. In an instant, thousands of skeletons were turned into dust. He had just started learning the golden platform demon exterminating palm, and had only opened up one earth vein. However, the power of his martial arts was already so strong. He was indeed worthy of being in the spirit essence realm. Hoo-hoo! Just as Yi Xian nodded his head satisfactorily, a gust of wind blew into his ears. Kacha! The Bahuang sword instantly shattered, cutting off the bone spurs that were shooting towards him. Originally, his cultivation level was his weakness. Regardless of whether it was kinesis flight or anything else, he was always inferior to others. But now he was no longer afraid. However, royal air flight had nothing to do with strength, so his agility advancement had no effect. Yi Xian felt a lot more relaxed now that he could fly. After all, the skeleton army below did not have wings. He returned to his original position and searched along the stone wall. Fallen Spirit sect had been in the ghost tomb for at least a day. Yi Xian had entered so late, yet he had encountered Fallen Spirit sect. It seemed like the entrance to the 5th level was difficult to find. Yi Xian searched along the stone walls to see if there were any more giant mountain-splitting apes. However, right at that moment he suddenly felt that something was strange. He turned around to take a look. What he saw almost scared him to the point of peeing his pants. No wonder Yi Xian felt so creepy behind him. It turned out that there was a vengeful spirit following behind him. If this were any other time, Yi Xian would definitely have slain this vengeful spirit. However, this time he did not do so. This vengeful spirit was very small. She looked to be about 5 or 6 years old and was even a little girl. This little vengeful spirit looked at Yi Xian with her large scarlet eyes. She floated in the air motionless. Yi Xian had killed at least 8,000 people, if not 10,000. However, he had never killed a child before. Fallen Spirit sect is really cruel. They won't even let the vengeful spirit of a child go. Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. Then he turned around and left. He still could not bring himself to do it, even though this was just a vengeful spirit. However, after flying for a while, he turned around again. He realized that this little vengeful spirit was still following him, maintaining a distance of 1,000 meters. "Why are you following me?" Yi Xian asked with a frown. He did not know if a vengeful spirit retained their memories after death. However, the vengeful spirits he had seen before would pounce on a living person the moment they saw one. This little vengeful spirit did not. It was a little strange. At that moment, this little vengeful spirit suddenly stretched out her hand. Her fingers curled, making a circle. Circle. Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. This little vengeful spirit could actually understand his words. This meant that this little vengeful spirit had consciousness. In the next moment he understood. He immediately said, "100 ghost pearl?" After hearing this, the little vengeful spirit nodded. It turned out that this little vengeful spirit wanted to be kept in the 100 ghost pearl. Fine. Yi Xian casually took out 100 ghost pearl. Then, he activated the secret tome of ghosts and kept the little vengeful spirit in it. People in the land of ghosts could refine vengeful spirits to cultivate. Yi Xian also cultivated the secret tome of ghosts, but he did not do so. Besides, instead of spending a lot of time refining a vengeful spirit, he might as well go out and kill some sacred beasts. After that, Yi Xian continued to look for the entrance to the 5th level. However, what he had forgotten was that the little vengeful spirit was able to keep up with his soul essence realm speed. At this time, it had been an hour since Yi Xian entered the 4th level of the ghost tomb. During this hour, he kept looking for the entrance to the 5th level in the sky. It had to be said that he was unlucky this time. He went around in a big circle before he found the entrance to the 5th level. There was also a seal at the entrance to the 5th level. It was the second seal of the ghost tomb. After finding the entrance, Yi Xian directly rushed in and arrived at the 5th level in the blink of an eye. The 5th level of the ghost tomb was completely different from the 4th level. The 5th level was not big, and the surrounding stone walls were built into a palace. At this time, in front of Yi Xian there were 8 huge pillars. After Yixian arrived, he heard a series of rumbling sounds. In front of him there was a huge chaotic battle. He looked around and saw another passage not far away. It seemed that that was the other entrance to the ghost tomb. However, none of this mattered anymore. He went over and found that the 100 people were not fighting each other, but two vengeful spirits. So strong. 12 Soul Essence Realm experts can only fight to a draw with these two vengeful spirits. Yixian frowned. At this time someone suddenly shouted, "Another Soul Essence Realm expert is here. Come and help." The Soul Essence Realm expert that this person was talking about was none other than Yixian. The 12 people who were fighting with the two vengeful spirits turned their heads and saw Yixian running towards them. There was no flying dragon trash. This meant that he was at the Soul Essence Realm. "Little brother, come and help," a strong man shouted. Yixian was puzzled. He had just come down. It was good enough that he did not cause trouble. These people were calling for him to help. Was this a joke? He roughly observed them. Among the 12 people, even the weakest 4 were on par with the fallen spirit sect leader. The other 8 were much stronger. He estimated that he could at most fight with 4 of them. If 8 of them came, his life would be in danger. Chapter 466. Ghost King Palace. The Ghost King's Pearl? Yixian was stunned. The most precious item in the ghost tomb was the Ghost King's Pearl. No one knew the exact realm of the Ghost King, but if the third row of wraiths guarding the Ghost King's Pearl were so powerful, the fourth row of wraiths would be even more so. The Ghost King must be stronger than them, right? Yixian suddenly remembered that the ghost tomb had been explored several times. The first to third rows of the ghost tomb must have been in good condition before, but after people entered, they all woke up. However, after several explorations, the Ghost King's Pearl was still there. He could try to guess. First, the previous explorers were too weak and died. Second, they saw that the Ghost King's Pearl was too powerful and retreated. Yixian felt that the first possibility was more likely because he felt that the Ghost King Palace was a little eerie. Moreover, the group in front was still fighting 2 wraiths. After those 2 wraiths, there were 2 more powerful ones. It was precisely because of this that Yixian didn't make a move and snatched all of their universe rings. However, if he did not take action, the group would not be able to kill the 2 wraiths. He immediately rushed over and joined the battle. Although his realm was the lowest, his strength was above everyone else. As soon as he joined the battle, the 2 wraiths were pierced through by his sword. Their spiritual bodies shook violently. So strong. That was what everyone thought. The score was originally 6-6, but now that Yixian had joined the battle, it became 6-7. In less than 5 seconds, the wraiths that Yixian was in charge of were killed and dissipated. Not long after, the second wraith died. Phew, we finally killed the third column's wraiths. The group heaved a sigh of relief. Yixian looked around. There were at least 8 factions in the 100. Even if they killed the fourth column's wraiths, there was only one Ghost King's Pearl. How would they split it? He was afraid that he could only fight to the death. However, with Yixian's participation, there were 9 factions. "Little brother, where are you from?" An old man stepped forward. "Everywhere is my home. I just happened to pass by," Yixian replied casually. "Oh." When the old man heard this, his eyes immediately lit up as he said, "I wonder if little brother has heard of the legend of this ghost tomb?" "I know." Yixian nodded. "Haha, good. I am the sect master of the Eastern Mountain Territory's Heaven's Peak sect. I earnestly request little brother to lend us a helping hand. After this matter is completed, there will definitely be generous rewards." The old man got straight to the point. Sure enough, this was exactly as Yixian had guessed. When these people saw that he was alone, they began to rope him in. The other powers also had the same idea. However, Yixian shook his head and said, "Sorry. I'm also interested in this Ghost King Pearl." "You overestimate yourself." As soon as he said this, someone released a cold snort. It was a robust man. Yixian had taken a look just now. This brawny man's strength was about the same as the old man in front of him. These 2 were the top experts among the 12 people. "Little brother, are you not going to consider it?" The old man narrowed his eyes and asked. "No." Yixian directly shook his head. The old man did not say anything else. After all, those who could cultivate to this level were not fools. Furthermore, they were all ambitious. The Ghost King and the Ghost King Pearl was at the Soul Essence realm at the very least. If an expert comparable to the 72 ley veins appeared, then they would have struck gold. Alright, since that's the case, then let's discuss how to deal with the vengeful spirits of the fourth pillar, the old man said loudly. Everyone gathered around. These 8 powers were led by the old man and the robust man. The last 2 pillars had 2 vengeful spirits, so naturally, they were divided into 2 teams. The configuration was actually the same as before, but Yi Xian, who had just arrived, had to choose a side to fight on. This side. Yi Xian glanced at the old man. After all, the robust man had just slandered him. If he did not teach him a lesson, he would really think that Yi Xian was a sick cat. Yi Xian's position was very important. After all, there were 9 powers here. If one of the vengeful spirits died, no one could guarantee that those people would not help. Humph. The robust man also snorted coldly in dissatisfaction. Alright, since that's the case, then it's settled. The 7 of us will be on the left, and the 6 of you will be on the right, the old man said with a satisfied smile. The robust man did not refute and snorted again. Soon the 100 people were divided into 2 teams. Under the old man's order, they approached the fourth pillar. Sure enough, when they got closer, 2 figures appeared on the pillars. Kill. Whoever dares to go first, everyone will attack together, the old man shouted. In an instant, the group of people attacked the 2 female vengeful spirits with disheveled hair. The 2 female vengeful spirits had crazily long fingernails and defeated all the attacks. However, they did not dare to take the attacks of Soul Essence Realm experts head-on. Yi Xian had also found a good position and started attacking. As for the bait, the old man would be the bait. The strength of these 2 female vengeful spirits was indeed stronger than the third pillar. If Yi Xian had not joined in, the left side would not have been able to hold on. Before Yi Xian joined in, the strength of the right side was about the same as the left side. Therefore, the right side was instantly breached, and a Soul Essence Realm expert died. Not good. The old man's face sank. He did not care about the vengeful spirits anymore and directly rushed towards the Ghost King Pearl. Not only him but the others also did the same. In an instant, the 2 vengeful spirits began their massacre. As for Yi Xian, he did not rush over. Instead, he began to collect the universe rings. After all, the Ghost King Pearl would not run away, and these people could not immediately control the Ghost King. Besides, there was only one entrance, so he was not in a hurry. Yi Xian shuttled through the crowd. Everywhere he passed, there would be a series of intense screams. Those who were targeted by Yi Xian would naturally have one of their wrists broken. At this moment, a person had already climbed up the platform where the Ghost King Pearl was placed. It was the old man. However, in the next moment, countless attacks swept towards him. A battle instantly broke out in front of him. A group of people were fighting for the Ghost King Pearl. 2 battles broke out in the Ghost King Palace. Yi Xian was fishing in troubled waters. He took all the universe rings of those warriors who had not even reached the Soul Essence realm. However, he did not kill these people. He just let them attract the vengeful spirit's attention. He devoured all the things in the universe rings, but unfortunately, even with so many things, it was still not enough for him to break through. At this moment, he placed his attention on the platform again. No one had obtained the Black Ghost King Pearl. The old man and the brawny man were also fighting. It had to be said that greedy people were too terrifying. In order to fight for the Ghost King Pearl, these 11 people did not even care about their own team. Suddenly, a Soul Essence Realm expert touched the Ghost King Pearl. However, in the next moment his hand was directly chopped off, followed by his head. The Soul Essence Realm experts were instantly reduced to 10 people.